Zubox.
What is that?
Yo, Zubox, what it do, baby? It's your boy, Ari Spears here. Going to win, Zubox, and persevere.
The Zubox is working.
I don't know what Zubox means. I don't get it. Is this just some, I mean, obviously it's a code name of some kind.
Zubox is working, man.
He says you a trash rapper.
Hey, man, I want to dress up like a bunny rabbit and fuck.
That's all I gotta tell you, Zubox. Come on, man. Chin up, find a place to smile, right?
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 2, the second episode of Goes to the Movies Live for February 1st, 2024. I am here with my faithful co-host, who could be my son. What's up, Jeremy?
Hey, it's going well, Sean. How are things in your neck of the woods?
Oh, everything is going great. Everything is going so good. Me and Jeremy just had like this conversation privately. I was like, we should go live. We should just have this live. Yeah, we were talking about it. So tonight's movie du jour is we're going to be talking about the original First Blood from 1982, the Ted Kotcheff directed film. If you guys don't know, Ted Kotcheff did a few other movies. You may have heard of them. A Weekend at Bernie's. Thank you very much. He also did, what was it? With Valor? Is that what it's called? Do you remember? Uncommon Valor, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Which was another it was kind of like a Rambo 2-ish movie, honestly, in a kind of weird way, because it has like Gene Hackman as kind of the Colonel Troutman character, and then I think Reb Brown's in it. It's a fun movie. I watched it last year.
Right.
Yeah, the reason why we chose to do First Blood as our first movie to do is because we actually had recorded about almost a 4-hour podcast about all of the Rambo movies. It was going to be just like we used to do it normally, the Goes to the Movie style, where I would take it and I would edit everything together and put out a canned video. And I had downloaded it, forgotten, or thought I still had it, didn't realize I had deleted it, and then I deleted it from the archive on StreamYards, and it was gone. It was gone forever. It belonged to the internet. It belonged to just me and Jeremy. We had a private podcast.
And it was a very epic conversation, if I recall. We had a lot to talk about.
We went for almost 4 hours talking about all of the Rambo movies. So, hey, you know what I mean? We got Trembling in the chat over on YouTube. He says, was this a prank by Prophet all along? He says, okay, never mind. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. Anyways. Yeah, so that's why we're doing this one. It's going to be a good time. We're going to get to that later, though. First, we're catching up. One of the things I did realize, though, today, I was telling Jeremy that I had notes. I had a Google Doc of like 6 pages of notes for all the Rambo movies that I had put together when we recorded this originally last year. Yeah, that is gone as well. Apparently, it's just somebody's trying to tell me something. I feel like I'm going to review this, and then within a few days, it's going to cause my death. You know what I mean? Like I'm ignoring all the signs. I mean, if you have a Google Doc that just disappears, I mean, that's spooky stuff. Okay, I could be, I could be the victim of some kind of ghost, some kind of ghoul or goblin.
Cue Jerry Goldsmith's score just to follow you at your funeral, but
dude, we're gonna get into that score too. But yes,
right,
I think that would be an appropriate one to go out on. Come on now.
yeah, it's nice.
Oh, Trembling says, "quote unquote," Zubox's working intro means Prophet show to me. Well, it was mine before it was his. Trembling. No, yeah, that's because that's usually what he plays. Yes, I don't have an opening for Goes to the Movies yet. I've been slacking. I've been lazy. I've been, having to do other IRL things, so it's kept me away from the computer. But yeah,
well,
so how's it going?
Oh, it's going okay. I was gonna say, Sean, we'll cross edit something. We'll work on the most killer opening you've ever seen on your channel before. We'll see what we can.
Listen, it's a pretty low bar, Jeremy, and I believe you. I believe, I believe, Jeremy, that you could do it. I think you could do it, and I think you'd make a great one.
Right.
But anyway, so how's it been? How's it been? So we haven't talked in 2 weeks. We've talked a little bit on Signal, passing memes and news stories. But tell everybody how you've been, Jeremy.
Generally just getting through life, I guess. Life. I don't know if it's the same for other people, your average Joe, but like life hits you pretty hard sometimes, and sometimes you can't be as online as you'd like to be. So I'm always
well, do you really want to be though? It's like you feel it's like more of an addiction.
Right.
It's like we're addicted to it, so we just kind of
No, but it's been a mix of just family celebrations, sick days, seeing some bands, getting some videography under my belt, and
nice.
seeing what new job opportunities show their way, and also future crossovers, hopefully soon again with some of our fellow creatives in our Twitter, YouTube, Facebook circles. More to come. I'm excited.
Excited to get going. Now, you know what's crazy? I feel like I haven't really done very much in these past 2 weeks, but I have done a lot. I've done I've reviewed a drug. I've I've kept my children alive. But you know what's crazy? You know what's the weirdest thing though? Like this hasn't happened to me in a very long time, but I've gone like almost 2 weeks with only watching like 2 movies. Like actually watching, well, technically 3, because I watched First Blood. But like other movies. Normally, I'm like I watch like 5 movies a week, 5 or 6 a week on average. But you know what I've been doing? Compromising, Jeremy. I've been compromising with what I've been watching. When you're married.
Right.
When you're a married man, you got to compromise. And sometimes, unfortunately, the television kind of is the thing that is center of gravity. It can bring you together in your house. But you have to kind of go through all of these weird mental gymnastics, because you're like, okay, well, we got to put something on that we want to watch, but we don't really want to watch, so that we can just kind of passively watch it while we talk and catch up and look at our phones. So it's a very delicate balance you have to find, Jeremy, because some things are so bad that it's just too much. So we like to watch trashy reality shows. I mentioned last time we were watching Love is Blind, this Netflix show.
Oh, yeah.
This show, dude, I think I'm done with it. I don't think I can watch any more of it, but it was like, it's kind of a soul-crushing show. It is like kind of, I mean, some of the personalities on there are worse than like the personalities from like the Jersey Shore.
Right.
It's like you took people from like the Jersey Shore and maybe give them a little bit more money. Maybe they're a little bit more upscale. And then you separated them and you made them do this dating show where they had to decide whether or not they wanted to get married to somebody without actually physically seeing them. So they have to propose to each other like through a wall. There's a barrier. They only talk to each other. And then the rest of the show is them living together and trying to get through 30 days to the wedding. Riveting stuff.
Does the show achieve its goal of people having that, I guess, more emotional connection rather than the physical?
Well, yeah, that's obviously that's the big thing that they talk about. Like, this experiment is so crazy. Isn't this crazy that we're going to like talk to somebody and decide whether we like them based on like their personalities? Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't, it's one of these things where it feels like so overproduced that I can't really believe very much of what I see. Right. Like, I would not be shocked. I was actually kind of hoping that these people were actors, because it means that there wasn't people actually like this out there.
Right.
I would rather it be actors like hamming it up. But I don't think that's totally true. I think there's a lot of production meddling. You know how in The Curse, remember we were talking about The Curse, how the producers there like squirting tears in people's eyes and stuff like that, getting somebody to do something for a shot. It kind of feels like that sometimes.
Yeah. it's all that hyper editing that kind of gets in the way because there's hours and hours of footage that they just didn't use or end up putting in their final cut.
Well, of course, yeah.
You know what? Always like I always get suckered into it, even though like I always end up hating it. Is those Jubilee videos?
Yes, especially if people are fans of Nightcap.
Right.
I've watched some fucking Jubilee videos in the past.
Man, it's just like it's like right as they get into something that's cohesive or interesting, they just like cut to the next like conversation starting. Like, come on.
Well, that's the thing. Like, they never go. They're never satisfying. They never go anywhere, and nothing ever comes of it. And you're like kind of left wondering, like, well, that was 45 minutes,
right?
And and I think you're exactly right. Every time it edges on something interesting or contentious, a lot of times they just like pull away. Yeah. Especially if it's like I don't know, like two extremely different kind of political perspectives.
Right.
But like again, then it kind of feels like it defeats the purpose sometimes. You want to see them like hash it out, like have a real conversation about things. Trembling says a whole movie that wouldn't happen if the sheriff was just polite and didn't try to nip suspected vagrancy in the bud immediately. Well, this is true. Yeah. He also said Glory Hole Romance was the original title of Love is Blind, but it didn't fly with test audiences. Spooky stuff. I mean, these censors are out of control, Jeremy. They're fucking crazy.
If that was the title, I would have backed it for sure.
Yeah. If that's what it was, I would have watched it. I swear to God. I promise. Yeah, so that's the only thing I really watched, honestly, other than I watched Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer because I got the Arrow box set. And the transfers are amazing. I talked about it on Nightcap, so I won't take too much time talking about it here. Great transfers. If you are a fan, worth the money, in my opinion, to upgrade it, even if you already own the Blu-rays. It looks better than it's ever looked. First time, at least stateside, that there's really real special features for for Destroyer. You actually get to hear the audio commentary with Richard Fleischer, where he admits that it's all his fault. I always been blaming Dino De Laurentiis my entire life. I feel so ashamed.
Hey, I'll respect a dirt honest man who just like admits his faults. I'll take that over.
Ooh, Dino? Yeah, Dino would have just been. Well, who? Fleischer or Dino?
Oh, well, that's true.
Because Dino would just tell you. He'd be like, I want to make more money. I want more people to watch this and see this.
We need to sell toys.
And we need to sell toys and cartoons. And the cartoons, Arnold. John Milius is crazy. He's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, that's really all I have really watched. Oh, you know what? Well, speaking of reality shows, I watched Love on the Spectrum. I forgot about this. I watched it. My wife was like kind of dying to watch it because a new season came out. Mm-hmm. So this was another moment of compromise. And so I ended up watching Love is Blind or Love on the Spectrum. Sorry. Because there's like 3 or 4 shows that are all about autistic people dating. Uh-huh. It's like there's one that's literally called Down with Love.
Oh God!
And it's not like that's not a joke. It's not like it's like I was at the beach last summer and I was at a beach house like just bored scrolling Netflix and I saw Down with Love. I was like, is that real? No way, no way. But anyways, this one is much more wholesome, but also has that same problem where it feels very manicured and very produced and. They found like a really good cast of people with autism, for lack of a better way to put it, because they're all kind of charming and sweet and interesting in their own ways. None of them are like, none of them are so far on the spectrum that you would that it feels exploitative.
Right.
Like it kind of strikes the right balance. But and that one's a little bit more because you feel like you're watching kids like go on dates for the first time, and it kind of makes it heartwarming. It makes it like endearing. But I do know I am fully aware that the manipulation is in full swing on that show, and you just feel like the producer's hands all over these autistic people. Like, why don't you go kiss her, hold her hand, come on
in for it. No, I feel like I might actually be a ripe contestant for the show. I haven't tested any physical if I'm autistic myself, but you know what?
That's my wife looks
I
at
would
me.
do it
she's
anyway.
like-
Yeah.
My wife looks at me and she says, "Uh-huh." And I'm like, "Shut up. Get out of here."
Right.
But yeah, you should be. You know what I was going to do? I thought I don't know if it would be I don't know why. It would be funny to me if it happened. I wanted to get on that Squid Game.
Oh yeah, no, I watched the first episode of that, and I was thinking even the same exact thought. Like I could probably pull this off. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'd give it a shot.
Yeah.
And it would be good, like it would be good fodder for Zoobox if I were to be able to get on the Squid Game show.
Right.
'Cause I could have all these behind the scenes stories. Although they probably make you sign an NDA. I know they do. I know they do in terms of who the winner is. They make you sign an NDA, but I wonder if this is just like a general one or not.
Yeah.
I guess I'll find out when they totally pick me, when they select me.
Right.
To be a contestant. I'll tell you what, I'm going to complain even more than all these other people that complain. These people had to use condoms, Jeremy, because their lips were so chapped. They had to take the lube from the condoms and pat their lips with it. It was like really being on Squid Game. It was kind of remarkable. Well, anyways, you want to get into the news?
Yes, let's get right into it.
All right.
The news.
So here we go. We're into the Joker news, everybody. The Joker news, our first story we're going to be talking about today. I can send you the link if you want, or if you can't see it on the screen well enough.
One sec here.
We're going to be talking about
Joker.
We're going to talking about the 2024 Oscar nominations. Now, I got to be real. I don't really care that much about the Oscars, but I do pay attention to it.
Right. Same here.
You know what I mean? Like, I begrudgingly care about it in a weird way. Because I do like to think about what is the best of the art form of the year. It's interesting to have a group of peers kind of judge each other's work in a way. That can be interesting. Unfortunately, for a very long time, the Academy has kind of been captured by whatever the politics of the moment are.
Right.
And that influences a lot of their decisions, it seems like. I don't think I don't think it's the deciding factor in everything they choose, but it's definitely for some of them.
What do you make of just like the overall nominations? Because there weren't really a lot of surprises here this year, especially.
Yeah.
Minus maybe a couple like little controversies, and we'll get into that in a second. But just like with who like they were specifically choosing, and then who just got completely ousted by the
who got
Academy.
snubbed, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Are you one of these Barbie defenders? You coming at me? Barbie defending?
Barbie's now one of my favorite movies. I'm just kidding.
Well, it should be. It should be, honestly. Especially after that last podcast, dude. Somebody left a comment. They said Barbie was my favorite movie of 2023.
Of course it was.
And that's all they wrote.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's awesome. Good for you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Like, what do you want me to say? It's just my opinion, dude.
Yeah.
Calm down. Calm yourself. All right. So best picture, we got American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, or as I like to call it, Beard, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest. Actually, out of all of these, I have not seen Past Lives, Poor Things, or Anatomy of the Fall, or The Zone of Interest. But The Zone of Interest is actually the one I want to see the most because I really like the director.
Yes. Yeah.
Jonathan Glazer. He did this really it's like an all-time favorite movie of mine with Scarlett Johansson, Under the Skin.
Exactly. Yep.
That movie is incredible. One of the best horror movies of the past 25 years.
Right.
In my opinion. I love that movie. It's a movie that I just grows on me. I love more and more that I watch it. And The Zone of Interest is his newest movie, and it's about basically a commandant at Auschwitz and him and his family having kind of an idyllic life in the countryside while Auschwitz is going on in the distance.
Yeah, while people are getting showered to death, in the background. Yeah.
So, I can't wait to see what he does with that. So, but I've heard, it's obviously it's a Jonathan Glazer movie, so it's kind of polarizing. Yeah. So I'm very curious about it. I don't know. Is there anything here? I think I kind of agree with you. I think Anatomy of a Fall was kind of, that just became a last minute. almost had like recency bias. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it came out, everybody's like, "Oh, that's the good foreign drama."
Yeah,
I've heard it's good. I'm not judging
Right,
the
right.
quality of the film, but
I watched Poor Things. I would say like one of the recent films I watched after we did our best and worst of 2023.
yeah.
I watched Poor Things with family, and it's an okay movie, but it has nothing really important or monumental to say. In fact, it's actually, if anything, you could kind of treat it as a comedy of like, I don't know, like a girl going to college, I guess, and just like
Well, isn't that kind of what I mean, I haven't seen it yet, and I will watch it because I like
Yeah.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
right. Yeah.
I mean, I've pretty much I think I've liked everything he's made thus far.
Sure.
So I'm sure I probably won't. But I did hear that about Poor Things, that it's his kind of least remarkable movie, and it's a little bit almost feels like he just like gave in to some little pandering.
Oh, very much so. Like it even aligns itself, even story wise, a little bit with Barbie in that regard.
Well,
I
because
would say-
it's about like female fulfillment and
Right.
liberation, like
Yeah.
throwing off the vestiges of old society and like
Yeah.
being the modern woman. I that's what it seemed like.
Yeah, I only give it extra kudos compared to that one in regards to just the production design. And honestly, and I can't stand Mark Ruffalo's like online and like separate personality from acting, but he gives like a really, really funny performance.
Dude, he's like, listen,
Yeah.
he's a great fucking actor.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I can't. He's a disgusting human being, but like he's a great fucking actor, and I can't take that away from him. Okay, I'm just like everybody else. I'm a normie, and I want him to be. He should be Columbo in a Columbo movie, kind of like when they made John Hamm the new Fletch, which actually ended up being
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Listen, that new Fletch movie was all right if you like Fletch, but I feel like he could do a Columbo. And I know that's normie bullshit. That's normie like fan casting. Like I want to see the same thing I've already seen again. Guess what? I don't care.
Right.
I want to see him do that, or have him see him do like what is it, Mikey and Nikki?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Team him up with like
Right. John Cassavetes type. Yeah.
Jonathan Hawks. There you go.
Yeah. And have Steven Soderbergh direct it. Why not? You know.
Yeah, why not? Let's get crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
since we're just talking fantasy now.
Right.
So American Fiction. Did you see American Fiction?
I missed this one, but I know it's making all the I guess it's like raving right now with critics and audiences. Everybody seems to be really liking it. I remember I think you said
fine.
it was just fine. Yeah.
It's fine. It's kind of just like the messaging of the movie is a little bit muddled, and it is passively super racist. But yeah. But yeah, I didn't really love it. Barbie, we've talked about Barbie last podcast. Barbie, we're going to get into it because we're going to talk about the snub. So Greta Gerwig, Margot Robbie, the big snub. Nobody wants them. They hate them, actually. And I honestly, I think it's weird when a movie gets nominated for Best Picture and the director doesn't get nominated.
Yes.
I find that weird. I've never understood this. I'm like, well, how does that make any fucking sense? But it happens, and it happens kind of frequently, actually.
I think it still bleeds into my conspiracy theory. I think Noah Baumbach was the real director, and there was some shady things going on there, so they didn't know how to quite nominate the film in that category. So
you think it's because they knew and they were afraid of being outed, Jeremy?
I think so. I mean, if you're gonna play it up this much, like, oh, this is the first successful female-directed film, like, let's peel back the layers here a little bit.
This is
Yeah.
big feminism at work. Okay,
Right.
the con is on. The con is on. The Holdovers. I'm glad that got it nominated. It is a very sweet movie. It feels like it kind of anachronistic in a way where it feels like it comes from a different time. Not the fact that it's a period piece, but it does feel like something that would have been like a Focus Features movie in like 2005.
Right.
You know, around the time like Transamerica was coming out. That's kind of like, it kind of just reminds me of that indie vibe.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just the Alexander Payne style. You know, he just is that, and that's when I started watching Alexander Payne movies.
It felt of the 70s too, like without even
Yes.
doing anything like too overt. I think even with the shots and the material, but they it definitely does take you back to that time period.
Oh,
just
100%.
aesthetically. Yeah.
I mean, the aesthetics of it, I think they shot on film stock that would have been used. They edited the movie with kind of with older methods. And and if you look at the color palette, it's all obviously meant to kind of reinforce the time period and stuff. I wonder if it was nominated for like what do you call it? Like set design.
Oh,
It was good. Killers of the Flower Moon. I mean, Scorsese makes a movie; they're going to put it up there. I think it's it holds its own, especially in this crowd. Honestly, we need to go back to when it was like 5 nominees. Like, this is ridiculous.
I know.
What the hell is this? Maestro? No, Maestro does not need to be in the Best Picture category. That's because I guess Bradley Cooper maestroed his way through the Academy. Trembling says Near Dark was actually James Cameron.
Hey, I agree with that.
I won't take any of this Catherine Bigelow hate. She did Point Break, but I have heard that. I know he basically wrote the script. We got Big Paul in the house. He says, "Yo, what's up, Big Paul?" Maestro, did you see Maestro?
I didn't. I missed out, but I just didn't really care to see the new Bradley Cooper vehicle. It wasn't really.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure I'll probably check it out maybe one of these days. But
it's fine. It's fine if you like impressions. Like it's he's doing an impression of the guy, and maybe he does a very good impression, but it feels very like performancey, like give me an award type performance. And I hate to say that because but it just felt that way. And the fact that he feels kind of like he's earned it now, and it's like it's his, he deserves it. Like, that's the way he talks about himself sometimes. Like, all right, buddy. It's like, I spent 8 years learning how to make it look like I was conducting this one piece of music. It's like, Jesus, you suck that bad? It took 8 years?
Damn. What kind of method actor are you?
What's his name? Joaquin Phoenix, when he did Walk the Line, learned how to play guitar in 6 months, Jeremy.
There you go.
6 months, dude. James Mangold of Indiana Jones fame. Because he was kind of cast kind of late, and he only had he had a little under a year to basically learn how to be Johnny Cash. That's impressive. 8 years for one scene, Bradley Cooper. Nah, dude.
Step it up, man.
You ain't no Joker, buddy.
It's so funny too because he does executive produce, I think, the Joker movies.
Bradley Cooper, yeah, because he's friends
yeah.
with what's his face, the director, Todd Phillips.
Yeah. Wow, yeah.
It's all coming together.
Yep.
It's all coming together, and we ain't joking. No jester maxing here. We talked about Poor Things, Past Lives, Cuck movie of 2024.
Right.
Zone of Interest, we talked about that. Oppenheimer. I mean, I loved Oppenheimer.
Me too.
Almost more. Actually, I kind of think Oppenheimer deserves to win because I think it's such a technical achievement, like for the art form.
Right.
Because it's got there's problems. It's got problems. It's got it's got that classic Nolan problem of kind of robotic characters that are a little clunky dialogue. I would say out of all of his movies, this one has the least of those problems.
Yeah.
Because and a lot of that has to do with the pacing, though, and like how quickly he's going through everything. There's not even a time to sit there really and kind of dwell on anything.
What a flip in the Academy culture too would it be if Oppenheimer is the Best Picture winner? Because every time Nolan comes out with something, he at least gets nominated for some technical direction or some performance, like with Joker or something. But this is definitely what he's been building up towards. And what if everybody just kind of throws everybody for a curveball and just votes for that one?
I think Oppenheimer is the favorite to win.
You think?
Yeah. I mean, what would you think is the favorite? I mean, people are saying that Poor Things is going to come up from out of nowhere because it kind of started picking up a lot of Critics' Choice Awards and stuff.
I think it's a toss-up between Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon, but I think either or could probably happen.
I don't think they don't. For some reason, they have kind of a weird thing with Scorsese.
Oh, really?
They always nominate him, but he very rarely wins anything.
Yeah. It's kind of the same Tarantino effect, I guess, as well. Like they'll always nominate him, but they'll
Yeah, he wins. He'll win screenplay.
Right,
He'll win like
right.
best screenplay. Honestly, I can't remember what it was up against, but Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I was like, well, that was the one to give him an award for.
yeah.
That was the most Tarantino movie ever, and it was good. Trilling says, I get what happened in Walk the Line and Walk Hard confused in my mind.
Yes.
Best actor, Bradley Cooper. Coleman Domingo for Rustin. I don't know what that is. Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers. Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. My choice is, I think Cillian Murphy's going to get it.
Okay.
Who do you think? What's your guess?
Yeah, I was gonna say Cillian Murphy's probably the most predictable choice, I would say.
But Giamatti should win.
Giamatti should win. It's just like this is not like a different kind of Giamatti role. Like we've seen him kind of play this character multiple times.
This is like what Oppenheimer is to Nolan. The Holdovers is to Giamatti. Like it's every Giamatti character rolled into one character.
Yeah.
Like honestly, that's kind of what it is. It's a very classic Giamatti type of role.
Right.
I will say this: Jeffrey Wright is a dark horse. No pun intended. Everybody, calm down. Jeffrey Wright could be a dark horse because he, even though American Fiction itself is muddled and a little middling, Jeffrey Wright is excellent.
Yeah,
he's really good in it.
He's another one of these actors who I again don't like his online personality really, but a very good actor.
Yeah, he's great. I don't. Is he? Yeah, he does have shit politics, doesn't he?
He's a total Wokey,
which makes it work. Dude, which will make when you watch if you watch American Fiction, the fact that it has got like Issa Rae, the mother from the sitcom Blackish. These people are just very outspoken, kind of social justice warriors, whatever you want to call them, wokesters.
Right.
And they're in a movie about how wokeism has kind of wrought all this wreckage in like the publishing world. Like it's so weird. And I felt like I was being gaslit. I'm like, why is Issa Rae in this movie? But the movie kind of reveals to you though that it's like it's okay for them to be like that.
Right.
All right, so we got Best Actress. We got Annette Bening for Nyad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. I went first last time. Who do you think who do you think will win, and who do you want to win?
Want to win? Well, I think who will probably win is Emma Stone.
That's what they're saying.
That's what they're hinting at. It's tough because I haven't seen 3 of these other movies. I can only just say Lily Gladstone would be cool, I guess, but that's about.
Yeah, but dude, then we're gonna have to sit through a Lily Gladstone acceptance speech.
Yeah.
honestly, for laughs, I really want Emma Stone to win.
Right.
So when they show Lily Gladstone's face, when they do the close-up cams of everybody, I want to savor that moment. You have any idea how upset she'll be? You have any idea? Holy shit, dude! This is for her people. This is for the whole, nation.
What if she just walked up on that stage and just slapped the hell out of Emma Stone like Will Smith
just
did?
takes the Academy Award and says, "This is what it feels like to be colonized, you fucking bitch."
Yeah, get off the stage.
Get out of here. This is my award. I earned this. For me, I think Emma Stone's gonna win, and I think Lily Gladstone should win.
Yeah,
I have the same opinion. Did not watch Nyad, although I kind of wanted to because it's Annette Bening and Jodie Foster, and it's about a woman who was trying to swim across the Atlantic or something.
Oh, okay.
And she couldn't do it, but she kept trying. She persevered, I think is like the tagline. Which and I haven't seen Anatomy of a Fall. I do actually want to watch that. Carey Mulligan and Maestro, she's kind of in the same category as Bradley Cooper, where it's like, well, it sounds like a very good imitation, but I didn't get a sense of that they were real people. Maybe that's just me, and also it could be my unfamiliarity with the subjects. I'm not I'm not an expert on the person that it's about.
Leonard Bernstein.
Leonard Bernstein. I'm not a Leonard Bernstein expert. I'd seen some interviews with him in the past, and And I've seen some side by, they love doing the side by side comparisons. They love doing that stuff. For Best Supporting Actress, we have Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, American Ferrera for Barbie. Really? Jodie Foster for Nyad, Davine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. And I guess I'll go first this time. I think who's going to win and who should win is going to match up. I think Divine Joy Randolph from The Holdovers should win.
I'm with you.
And I think she's going to win.
Yeah. Gotta support our sisters out there.
Yes. And also just a really fantastic, nuanced, layered performance, complicated character. Yeah. And she delivered it with grace and like dignity and integrity. And it was kind of I was very touched by that character, actually. Best Supporting Actor, Sterling K. Brown, American Fiction, Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling, Barbie, Mark Ruffalo, Poor Things. What are your choices, sir?
Well, this one really stumped me. Whether like I haven't seen Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction, but the other four, all different kinds of performances, and honestly, I wouldn't be unhappy with
any of them. Yeah.
Any of them, really. To be honest, I thought they all were very great in their separate ways. I guess maybe I might be a little bit bias, I guess, to Robert De Niro, just because like it's been such a long time since we've seen like him give a performance and actually give a shit about the movie he's in,
Yeah, he does a voice and everything. Like this is very weird.
Yeah. It's a tough pick for that one.
Well, who do you think is going to win?
I can see either Robert Downey Jr. or Ryan Gosling possibly getting this award. Mark Ruffalo would be interesting if they do end up like handing that to him, but between the Robert and Ryan's of the Roberts that were
yeah.
Okay,
I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to win.
Okay,
but I do think Robert De Niro should win.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is great in Oppenheimer, but he's like the way Nolan directs actors is like they're like pieces of the mechanics.
Yes.
And he turns you up or he turns you down. He speeds you up or he slows you down. Like it's a great fucking performance. You know what? No, I think I want Robert Downey Jr. to win too.
Right.
I'm just coming out. I want him to win, and I think he's going to win. I don't think Gosling's going to win. I think that was just like a kind of a token.
He's more like a Spirit Choice Award kind of performance. Like, oh, okay, that was fun.
But he's good. He is good.
He's
like
good in the role.
Best part of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like even the Academy acknowledges.
Yeah.
He's better than Margot Robbie.
Right.
For Best Director, we got Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Chris Nolan for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest.
It's Nolan's year. Let's just give it to Nolan.
Point. I don't even think there's really any other choice. It's Nolan's year. Jonathan Glazer's there just because he only makes a movie every 10 years, and they're always very artsy.
Yeah.
Yorgos Lanthimos, he's become kind of a favorite. He's become kind of a darling of the Academy over the past few years, especially when he made, ironically, The Favorite. That's kind of when he... But, although, was The Lobster or Killing of a Sacred Deer, those weren't nominated for anything, I don't think.
The Lobster might have been nominated for something, and then The Favorite, I think, was also for a couple awards.
Well, I know Olivia Colman won for The Favorite.
Right. Yeah. I will say, like, one other quick thing about Yorgos is that this definitely is the first time with Poor Things where his style, like, he's still trying to he's trying to do new things. He almost kind of like ventures into Wes Anderson Fantasyland a little bit with this one.
Oh no!
So I would just when you finally watch it, just be ready, for that. Yeah,
because I kind of like his I don't think he's exactly like Kubrick, but he reminds me a lot of Kubrick and his sense of humor and the way that he shoots things, and I kind of like that about him. And so if he starts teetering into Wes Anderson territory, I may stop liking him. No, I mean am I a Wes Anderson hater? I wouldn't go so far as say I'm a hater, but I'm a little over it.
Sure.
You know, I'm like 10 years older than you. I've been watching those movies for 10 more years than you. And he's making the same movie over and over again, Jeremy.
Because he needs to do something completely different. He needs to direct a horror movie. He needs to take up what the Coen brothers are supposedly doing right now and like take their
yeah, I'm super stoked for that.
yeah.
Because they seem angry.
Oh, absolutely.
As like guys, they seem like not just like, you know, kind of like, you know, clever, but cynical, but clever.
Right.
You know, that's kind of one of the staples of their work, the tone of their movies and stuff. But lately they've been like, over the years, they've gotten angrier and angrier. And I feel like their breakup briefly, and I thought Macbeth, was it Joel Coen's Macbeth?
Yes.
I thought that was actually a pretty angry movie. I mean, I know it's the play, but
right.
you could just kind of feel it. So I'm super stoked to see what you know it's going to be worth checking out regardless.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
for a screenplay, we have Arthur Harari and Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, David Hemmingson for The Holdovers, Bradley Cooper and Josh Singer for Maestro, Sammy Birch and Alex Machanek for May December, Celine Song for Past Lives. Do you have favorites? Who do you think is going to win? Who do you want to win?
Yeah, I didn't even get around to May December, and this is the first nomination that we've seen of that.
It's a good
I guess
screenplay.
of what I've seen, I would just say The Holdovers. What they're probably gonna pick, I could see either May December or
Past Lives.
Even Past Lives.
Because it's going to be the year of the cuck, dude. You know?
Yes, you're right.
Because, May December is not about a cuck specifically. Well, I guess kind of.
No,
in
it's
a
just,
weird
it's just-
roundabout way. But
It's just like an evil, like 3-way relationship that's like
it's a very dark movie, and I
Yeah.
don't think it does a very good job of threading the needle. I think it has the performances are great. Great
Sure.
performances. It's just
Yeah.
kind of a muddled movie that made by somebody who clearly thinks that they're better than the people that they make movies about, and you can feel it.
yeah.
There's a condescension to that guy's work, and it's in all of his work.
Mhm.
And either that'll bother you or it won't.
Yeah, I pissed off a few people on LinkedIn on their letterbox page actually while I was just kind of scrolling around looking at jobs and whatnot, and I just said like in the comment section like, yeah, what a vile narcissistic film, and then that ruffled the feathers, I guess, of a few letterboxed fanboys, and so my LinkedIn career is over, I think.
It's over.
Yeah,
It's over, bros.
it's over.
Adapted screenplay. We got Cord Jefferson. I'm sorry. I think May December is actually going to take that.
Because the
It's a good screenplay. Or
Okay.
Past Lives. I could also see Past Lives taking it too, honestly. I think it's going to
Yeah.
be one of those. I think The Holdovers should win. Or
Yeah.
maybe Anatomy of a Fall. That could be, I haven't seen that yet. That could be like
Yeah.
something I'm just not accounting for, you know? Adapted screenplay is Cord Jefferson for American Fiction, Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig for Barbie, Chris Nolan for Oppenheimer, Tony McNamara for Poor Things, Jonathan Glazer for Zone of Interest. I think they're going to give it to Barbie or American Fiction.
I would agree. Yeah, I think
might give it to-
Barbie's got a good chance, probably. I think just from the popularity and the craze of it.
It's almost now it's like an optics thing where they're like,
Yeah.
well, we have to give it to it now.
Right.
Like it has to win something. It has to win something.
And
They
you know
demanded it.
they're gonna do some sort of like Oscar dance number before they give that award out to.
Well, yeah, are they gonna do the Knuff song or Ken Enough or something, whatever it's called?
See that we're gonna get to it here in a second. They nominated 2 songs from that movie, so
What a-
we'll see which one they.
What a
Maybe
devil's-
both.
The devil's choice there.
Right.
Yeah, I do. I think they're gonna give it to him because the whole thing surrounding like the snubbing,
Yeah.
which
yeah.
people I don't know. I mean, Greta Gerwig never said anything. Margot Robbie actually came out and said like, no, I don't think I should have been nominated just because of what the movie's about, which is good for her. Which is not like her buddy Ryan Gosling, who like wrote like a letter to address the snub.
That was like the first time where I'm like, oh, dude, you're supposed to be this literally me figure, and you just like wrote the most like shameful letter to.
Well, he was like apologizing for being nominated because they weren't nominated, and he's like,
You're like,
"There's
why?
no Ken without Barbie. There's no Barbie without Greta." I'm like, yeah, we understand that. Like,
Yeah.
we get it, dude. Could you one of you people be graceful about
Right.
anything? But the Twitter discourse was so like annoying because it's just we've gotten into this thing where all the jokes, everything about it was like, well, this is literally what the movie Barbie is about. It's like, well, just because it's about this does that mean it's entitled to an award because of its subject matter?
Also, just even amongst like the normie discourse too, like apparently Barbie was just like 1 out of 3 movies people saw that whole year.
Yeah.
And they're just so out of the loop of like
It's Barbie and Oppenheimer. That's all anybody saw.
that's all it. Yeah, exactly.
Animated feature is The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The only one I've seen is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I think that it definitely has a chance, but I've heard The Boy and the Heron. People seem to really like that. So
Yeah, I do want to check that one out. Miyazaki's latest film, but all these other ones, I don't watch animated movies anymore.
yeah, not very often. I mean, I have
Yeah.
kids, so I see more than most people.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
people that don't have children, which makes sense.
Right.
But I didn't see Elemental. Like my kids don't like my son, essentially just my older son. Like he's just not into Disney movies and stuff. He just doesn't care about them. So we don't watch them. Like yeah. But what does he watch though? He watches Paw Patrol. He watches SpongeBob.
That's fine.
He
Yeah.
watches, what else are we into? Johnny Test.
Okay.
Captain Underpants. That was a big one. That was a big one for like years.
That was like the
Captain
last
Underpants.
animated movie I saw in theaters, I think.
Oh,
Captain
was it really?
Underpants. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
actually. Yeah.
It's like if you're a fan of Captain Underpants, it's pretty okay.
Oh yeah.
Treving says Jeremy and Lores making the letterbox dorks seethe so bad they tell their wives' boyfriends about it. That damn straight.
Damn
Prabhu
right.
says you drew first blood. I traced. They drew first blood. Documentary feature. I don't think I've seen any of these. Bobby Wine, the People's President, The Eternal Memory, 4 Daughters, To Kill a Tiger, 20 Days in Maripol. Have you seen any of these?
No, they're probably gonna give it to 4 Daughters because feminism or something.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, let's say that. It's going to be that or To Kill a Tiger.
Right, there you go.
International feature. I haven't seen any of these. Io Capitano, Perfect Days, Society of the Snow. I've actually heard this is very good. The Teacher's Lounge, and The Zone of Interest. Zone of Interest gets to occupy 2 spots.
Okay, that's
The
that's
same thing
odd.
happened with. Remember, with those. The same thing happened with Parasite.
But yeah. Both international and American Best Picture. Like I don't understand how they're doing. Well, they did like release that like new set of rules I think last year, and
Yes, they
it
changed things. Well, they changed things for like I think they originally changed the rules for Parasite.
Right. Well, like they all have to fit like certain quotas now. Like you have to at least nominate one like set
Thing from each place.
characteristic.
But
or-
like if you're in the
yeah.
international feature like competition, then you should be disqualified from Best Picture and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like you have to pick.
Yeah.
You can't have 2 shots. I mean, he's not going to win. So,
No.
I'm sure there was some other movie that would have been worthy of attention from the United Kingdom. Maybe something about gangsters. Sexy Beast 2. I saw this video of an old man on a motorized scooter just kicking the ass of like 2 grown people. And he was like bald and he looked like he would be in the movie Sexy Beast.
Hell yeah.
So I called it Sexy Beast 2. Editing, Lauren Senecal for Anatomy of a Fall, Ken Tent for the Holdovers, Thelma Schoonmaker for Killers of the Flower Moon, Jennifer Lame for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Mavroparidis for Poor Things. I'm going to say that Jennifer Lame is going to win for Oppenheimer, and I think that's who should win.
And I'd say probably Thelma would be a close second. But yeah, I'm
Thelma
with
would
you
be
on-
a close second, but that's because these people are so good.
Yeah.
Like, there are elder statesmen, I mean, not that she's like asked to do anything crazy in this movie, but it's just good. It's just solid stuff. They just know how to edit. They know how to tell a story clearly and concisely.
They both know how to make a 3-hour movie feel like an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, you're not, even from just the technical level, I guess, the pace of Killers of the Flower Moon is great.
Right. Yeah.
Although I think we both agreed on it, though, understanding the passage of time is kind of hard in that movie because Leonardo DiCaprio was already like 47.
Yes.
So when he's playing a 28-year-old and they're like,
it's a little distracting. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell when it's 5 years later.
Yeah.
Cinematography, Edward Lynchman for El Conde, Rodrigo Prieto for Killers of the Flower Moon, Matthew Libatique for Maestro, Hoyt van Hoytema for Oppenheimer, Robbie Ryan for Poor Things. Do you have any thoughts?
I can see them picking Oppenheimer. But my pick actually would maybe be Poor Things, just
Robbie
because
Ryan?
it does something really vivid and cool. They use a lot of crazy wide angle shots in that movie that you just don't see, not even like on a Kubrick level. Like it's just kind of like, whoa, this is like what lens did you shoot this on?
Yeah, doing like cool new stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's kind of one of that's kind of the number one reason why I want to see the movie is just for the visuals of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Oppenheimer's probably going to get it, but if Robbie Ryan were to get it, based on what you're saying, I think that would probably be appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like Oppenheimer's going to sweep pretty hard.
Yes. Yeah.
Original score: Laura Cartman for American Fiction, John Williams for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Robert Robertson for Killers of the Flower Moon, Ludwig Göransson for Oppenheimer, Jerskin Fendrix for Poor Things. The John Williams thing here, this is like Kathleen Kennedy just paying people off, like, give it something, please. I spent $350 million on that movie. Give it one fucking award nomination, please.
See, I don't remember anything that John Williams contributed to that film apart from the theme that we already know. I really don't.
He's still around. He's still around conducting.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a friend who lives up in Massachusetts, and he really loves going to like the Boston Pops and stuff.
Right.
Every once in a while, he'll whenever John Williams blows through town, he'll go see John Williams.
Yeah.
He still gets up there and conducts. He'll come up and conduct like a handful of selections.
Right.
Trelling says, "Man, unrelated to anything, but Gold Peak tea tastes like an ashtray smells. I've never had it. I believe it though.
It's like an ashtray, like piss drink, pretty much. I would kind of agree. I would think Oppenheimer though is going to probably win best score. I think it's going to sweep. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. It's a good score too, though. I mean, because it's like but it's like everything in a Kubrick, or not in a Kubrick movie, in a Nolan movie. It's functional. It's actually something that drives like it has a lot more control of scenes than I guess it's not more than other movies, but it's the way it's manipulating your emotions is very different than in a lot of other movies. Because with his historical movies, he basically does like thriller scores.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like constant like ticking and tension building, and you're like, oh shit.
Everything's very calculated, and you have to be on their page the whole time. Yeah.
Like the score for Dunkirk is kind of incredible.
Oh yeah.
Dunkirk is another movie. Yeah. It just only gets better the more you watch it, because it's such like it's so, I don't know. I've just become very enamored with Nolan as like a filmmaker. I think he doesn't get a lot of credit because he's so slick.
Right.
He makes everything look kind of easy, and we just kind of expect that of Nolan. So Nolan makes something like Tenet, and everybody turns on him for some reason because he's having fun. Like, how dare you?
How dare you re-release your movie again? Yeah.
Oh, dude, I might go see it. I might.
I might.
I saw it. I saw it back in the day, dude.
Yeah. No.
Two other guys in an empty IMAX theater. It was amazing.
No, I'm glad you bring up Dunkirk though too, because they invented a new. Well, they didn't invent it, but they utilized a new kind of sound where it's like this harmonious ringing that starts from one end of the spectrum to the other and just keeps going and going and like really raises the tension.
Yeah, it's like a dog whistle. It's like a dog whistle. Like you like the way dogs will hear dog whistles. Actually, my wife has a hard time watching it. Because of that.
It's stressful.
It fucks with her. She gets like she's like, I'm gonna have a fucking panic attack. I'm going to bed. I mean, maybe that could be just maybe she wanted to get away from me, but you never know. Production design: Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. Ooh, the Napoleon. That's an interesting wrinkle. I mean, from what you're saying, I would say Poor Things, but I think Barbie might take it.
I would give it to Poor Things, but Barbie's probably gonna be the takeaway. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have. They have to because they're like, look,
Right.
dude, look, it's visual, it's colorful, dude. Even though like Napoleon, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer meticulously recreate time periods.
Yes.
You know, like even though that in fucking they reproduce giant Barbie houses.
Yeah.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not trying to take away the achievement, Greta. You're very charming in your commentary, but come on now. Trebling says the scores Hans Zimmer does for Nolan's work for those movies, but don't work on their own. I much prefer Zimmer's 80s, 90s stuff, which is actually beautiful to listen to on its own. It's like parts of, if you listen to like a suite, like listen to the Inception score, but kind of like all blended together as a big suite. It's actually pretty good. I used to, and I still do occasionally, listen to that stuff when I'm on the elliptical at the gym.
Yeah.
I'll throw like the Inception or Dunkirk but I can understand what you're saying though. They're very different scores than from what he used to do back in the day. I've watched actually some of his live concerts. I really would love to go to one. They look super fun. It's kind of like in the same way that Carpenter's concerts are supposedly kind of fun. But Hans Zimmer like busts out his electric guitar and he's like rocking out like it's his rock star moment. He's having a blast up there, fucking playing that Wonder Woman. Like he's having the best time of his life. Yeah, just rocking out on that guitar. Yeah. Trembling prefers the days when he was doing the score for Driving Miss Daisy. Costume design. We got for Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. Honestly, actually, I might give it to Poor Things based on what you're saying. Other than that, maybe Napoleon.
Sure. Yeah, I was gonna say Napoleon would be like a close second. I was, if there was anything, I was like, oh, this looks period accurate. I like the.
I actually really like the look of Napoleon. It's a good looking movie.
Yeah.
I'm not a Napoleon hater like some people are. I'm looking forward to actually watching the 4-hour cut whenever that comes up.
Yeah.
Prophet says, gentlemen, I'm about to close this getting into laser discs. Thoughts? Anyone want to tie a rope around my waist and pull me out of this before it's too late? No, I think you need to go all the way.
All the way.
You
get a player and have like 20 good laser discs, and then that's all you need.
Trembling says the scores for Black Rain, Rain Man, and Days of Thunder are excellent. They are. Black Rain is actually kind of a low key one of my favorites. I actually only saw it for the first time a couple years ago, and I had really enjoyed it. Let's see, visual effects. The creator, Godzilla -1, which is the one award that they got nominated for. Mm-hmm. They had that list of international movies. They could have fucking taken off Zone of Interest, which is already nominated for a Best Picture, and they could have given it to Godzilla -1. These bastards. They just hate the Japanese. Anything that's just positive.
They hate the Japanese. Yeah.
They hate the Japanese, dude.
Yeah.
They love China. Prophet says, when I'm at the gym, I throw on the Joker music from Dark Knight. Just one whining, droning note that rises and rises until I hit that PR. That's right. So you got to do what you got to do. Listen. So that's how you get peak. That's peak fitness.
Yeah.
The creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, and Napoleon. I hope Godzilla -1 wins, and I kind of think it will. But the creator is actually pretty impressive. From a visual effects standpoint, world building is the best part of the movie. It is the reason to watch the movie because the movie itself is kind of middling. It's like it's okay. And it's not very emotionally resonant, and it's trying to be, and it's kind of an awkwardness to it.
Yeah.
Because Gareth Edwards shouldn't have went from $10 movies to $200 million movies.
At least not as fast as he did. Like he needed to take his time.
You need to learn how to tell stories.
Yeah.
But anyways.
I didn't catch Mission Impossible or the latest one.
Mission Impossible.
I'll probably check it out at some point.
It's it's entertaining. I like the Mission Impossible movies as kind of like an action franchise, kind of the dad core franchise of the now, other than John Wick maybe.
Yeah.
And it's the worst one in a while, but it's still entertaining. it hasn't turned into like the Fast and Furious movies yet.
Oh, not yet. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. What do you think is going to win? What do you think is going to take it? Godzilla?
I hope Godzilla is the one, and it seems like that might be like the fan pick. I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think people will go for that.
Yeah.
Sound design, the creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible, Oppenheimer, Zone of Interest. I've heard Zone of Interest. This is what I've heard, but Oppenheimer's probably going to win.
Yeah. I think Oppenheimer's going to win. What have you heard about Zone of Interest? Is it like?
Well, because basically the main focus of the movie is the sound design, because
Okay.
it's about a commandant of Auschwitz, and his
Right.
family living in a kind of an idyllic garden, hanging out in a garden. Well, Auschwitz is over the hill, and they can hear everything. They hear all the sounds coming from the concentration camp while they're just going about their daily lives.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the mundanity of evil, the banality of evil.
Okay.
Tremlick says the Creator and Rebel Moon might as well be the same movies to me. Oh, that's rough. I would go Creator over Rebel Moon any day of the week, but I mean, Rebel Moon is, if you like Zack Snyder visuals, then you'll like Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed in Rebel Moon. I wanted to like that movie. I was in Zack Snyder's corner. Okay? I wanted to. Tremlick says, I like the new Mission Impossible, how obvious the move up in quality of love interest was for Tom Cruise. Oh, from Rebecca Ferguson?
Yeah.
I like Rebecca Ferguson, though.
I do too.
I do. I think because she seems like she has a good personality,
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to make us rank? Okay, 1 out of 10, Jeremy. Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah, I knew this was coming.
She's an 11. That's what I say. All women are an 11.
I got to keep it at a healthy 8. 8.
Healthy 8? Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
so. I think so. I'm not a Rebecca Ferguson hater like Trembling is. I like Rebecca Ferguson just fine. Haley Atwell, though, is, I mean, yikes. I mean, she's nice. She's a nice looking lady. I don't know why I made that so drawn out and creepy. I'm like, yikes. Yeah. You know what I'm thinking? Because I was like, I kind of got lost in thought of how beautiful she is. Austin says, Haley Atwell is bae. Listen, the people have spoken. Who am I? All right, let's blow through these last ones. Original song, The Fire Inside from Flaming Hot. Didn't watch it. I'm Just Ken from Barbie. I Never Went Away, American Symphony. Wahaza from A Song for My People from Killers of the Flower Moon. What Was I Made For from Barbie. I'm going to say best original song is going to be the one from Killers of the Flower Moon. Is one that's probably going to win and maybe should win. Although I'm Just Ken could win because it's so popular.
Yeah.
Although I feel like I'm
or.
Just Ken is like when they nominated Blame Canada from the South Park movie.
Well, it's the Wakanda Forever sort of effect again. We're gonna see if they're gonna go for the blockbuster pick or the artistic, politically correct pick. I don't know.
I hope Common shows up and just starts playing the song that he wrote for Selma.
Yeah.
Just to show everybody show everybody what's what.
Right.
Live action short, we don't know that. Documentary short, no. Animated short, we don't watch that stuff. We just want the big awards. Okay, well that's the awards. That is the awards for the 2024 Academy Awards. Do you ever watch them at all anymore, or do you just do what I do and like scroll Twitter and look at speeches when they're over?
The last few years we did make it a thing with a few college friends where we would still do like the tallies and score like who would like guess the right one. The last couple years though, like I've only tuned in with like my parents now, and because they still have cable and everything. So
Gotcha.
Well,
your parents kind of the kind of people that's like, oh, it's the Academy Awards. We watch the Academy Awards. It's like a tradition.
Yeah, like in our own way. Like because we also do the scoring with each other as well. But like they're very in tune. Like they know it's all like bullshit and everything.
No, I know. It's just a fun thing to do.
Right,
like,
right.
Just to see. It's okay to just watch it for fun. Like, I don't watch it myself, but if somebody came up to me like, well, if I was invited to a party, let's say, I would go. Where
it was taking place.
I'd fill out the sheet. I'd get together with my other we'll probably boomer friends,
Right.
and we'd all sit and we'd watch the Academy Awards and be all excited and drink our apple teenies. It'd be a really good time.
Right. I will say
Really good
before the lockdowns, I remember those last couple of award shows, I would be looking at my watch like, is this still going on? Like, how long can they like keep like going with this? Now they're getting a little bit comprised, a little bit shorter here and there, but
Well, they're always trying to keep it tight, but they make odd choices where they put their time. Like they cut people's speeches off, but then let these like skits and stuff that nobody actually likes go on forever. Doesn't make any fucking sense. This next story is Roadhouse director Doug Liman boycotts premiere, issues a statement. So if people don't know, our boy Doug Liman of what did he direct? You said something.
Born Identity.
He did the first Born Identity. He did Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. He did American something with Tom Cruise as well. That came out a few years.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's one of Cruise's boys. He's in his Scientology stable. American Made.
Made, yeah.
Oh, he did Chaos Walking. He did the original Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or the more recent one. He did Jumper, everybody's favorite superhero movie.
I actually low key like that movie.
I knew you would too. You are, because you're of that perfect age.
That's my generation right there.
I was too old. Like I was like in my early 20s. You must have been what, like 12? I mean, because
like
that would have been a
13,
great
14,
yeah.
yeah.
If I was 12 or 13 years old, I probably would have loved Jumper.
Yeah.
It would have been one of those movies. Like, man, they never made a sequel to Jumper, dude.
Right.
The hell. But anyways, so he made the new Roadhouse movie with our boy Jake Gyllenhaal, beefcake extraordinaire.
Oh, we lost you. Am I holding down the fort? Oh,
I'm back.
okay.
Here we go. Sorry,
Yeah.
I hit a button. But yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal is in this new Roadhouse, and he's gotten in trouble actually because apparently he lost his mind on the set of whatever he's working on right now. But we don't need to talk about that right now. He went full Nightcrawler, I guess. Trelling says Born Identity is the only one of them I like. I hate all the Paul Greengrass shaky cam shit of the sequels. I used to not like the shaky cam stuff, but it did kind of grow on me just for that franchise in particular.
He just needs to or his DP or whatever needs to understand shutter speed way better. Like it's too janky and too annoying.
Listen, it was
to watch.
experimental. It was experimental cinema at the time. You know, they saw that French people were doing it, and they're like, "We're going to get in on this."
Yeah.
Okay, this is what the French people do. You see, District B13 or whatever that movie was.
Yeah.
So, anyways. So he issued a statement. He's upset because Amazon is going to dump it onto Amazon Prime instead of allowing it to go to theaters, which they had promised. They had actually promised all of these directors that were making Amazon original films that they would also put them in theaters. Like they did kind of actually the movie we were talking about earlier, American Fiction, is actually an Amazon Prime movie. Saltburn is also an Amazon movie. But they got like about a month. American Fiction's still in theaters, actually. But Saltburn had like 2 months before it ended up on Prime. I'm assuming the same thing's going to happen with American Fiction. And Doug Liman was not happy about that because, you know, obviously he's a film director. He cares about the theatrical experience, etc. And also, people find this very odd because it's clearly leaving like a ton of money on the table in a year that there's not going to be a ton of high-profile movies. Like normally there's like, you know, 50 of them come out a year. This year there's like 25 or 22, like kind of movies with big name actors from studios.
Right.
And so he's upset about that. He issued a statement about like, you know, this is disrespectful to the art form, the artists, theaters, exhibition, you know, all that kind of stuff. And this is kind of the big contention that's going on right now. And also came out today, the guy who's running Netflix currently, the president of Netflix, said they have no interest in ever engaging with a theatrical model, ever. They do some of them because it used to be, I don't know if it's still the case, but it was a requirement of the Academy that you had at least 2 weeks in a theater to be nominated. So they started doing that for their more high profile movies, the ones that they thought had a chance at getting awards. Because really they need that for legitimacy, or they think they do anyways. And so it's an interesting conversation that's been going on. I mean, I assume you fall where I fall, which is to suggest that we are fans of the theatrical exhibition. We want movies in theaters, even if it's fucking the Roadhouse remake.
Well, like where has all of that really fallen over the last decade? Because are people just too comfortable in their own homes or places that, like, they just there's always like something kind of grand. There's like a spectacle just to the theatrical experience that
Yeah.
I wonder it's just like completely lost on the public. I mean, I'm not going to talk about like film fans, but like
No, but and it's because a lot of our populist stuff has been really mediocre the past couple of years, and I think
Yeah.
people have kind of lost interest, right?
yeah,
You know what? Actually, a movie that reminded me how cool a theatrical experience can be was Godzilla -1.
yeah.
I was a half full theater, which and it was kind of a smaller theater, and watching it with a group of people was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
And everybody getting into it and crying and getting pumped and being excited.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember the last time I went to the theater and had that experience. Maybe Logan, James Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny Mangold's Logan.
That poor man.
I saw that movie opening night years ago.
Yeah.
Actually, it was me and my wife was pregnant at the time with our first son. And we had a really good time. It was a full theater, a packed theater. Every seat was taken, and it was like a really fun experience. But we just don't get movies like that very often. I mean, like the stuff that they're putting out for the popular stuff, even like the family fare has not been good. It's all been kind of mediocre and bad. Disney movies are not even being well reviewed anymore, even by the people that you would think would review it.
And I like the correlation here actually with Godzilla -1 because I had a great IMAX theater experience too with my audience, but it is the same effect that we're seeing right now with like anime overtaking Marvel and all these comic books right now because people are sick
Because
to
anime
death.
rules.
Yes. Yeah. They are sick to death of these other stories that are trying to like play to some sort of agenda when anime just kind of keeps it to their roots.
Well, they're starting to get influenced though, because
They are,
there's actually
yeah.
a story that came out that there was an animation studio in Japan that has begun to self-censor based on talking to the translation teams for the English-speaking translation teams.
I saw this. Yeah.
Because you got a bunch of like, for lack of a better way to put it, like, soy Americans over in Japan, weebs, creepy weeb types that are actually starting to have sway and influence, which is not cool. I mean, we need our big titty anime girls. Just leave them alone. We've earned them. Haven't we earned them? The past couple of the pandemic, all of these things that have happened to me in my personal life. Haven't I earned them?
This is our Leave Britney Alone.
This is my leave anime titties alone.
Yeah.
Okay. Anime is. It's anime is so big now that our partner in crime, Big Paul, has become a giant weeb. He's become an anime nerd in the past couple of years. Now, this is kind of shocking to me, Jeremy. I lived a life of teasing and ridicule for my tastes and things, only to have this motherfucker at least 3 or 4 times in our life, just 10 years later, kind of catch up to how cool I am. You know what I mean? Trembling says, same thing as Scarlett Johansson was pissed off about a few years ago. I'm with them. Yeah, she got fucked in the Black Widow movie. Well, not in the movie, but metaphorically by Disney, by the mouse. Perhaps if Scarlett Johansson was pissed, I never even looked up at it from her tits. That's true. That's the problem. See, that was your first mistake, looking at her face. Austin says, I love your Mike Lindell cutout. Oh, thank you. The Mike Lindell cutout is a kind of a funny story, and I never, because it's been with me so long, I just don't explain it anymore. But anyway, somebody that watches Nightcap got me that. And it was almost like a dare. Like, would you put a Mike Lindell standee behind you? I was like, every single show. Every single show. So
I have 10 of his pillows, actually. And no, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Actually, if you use promo code ZUBOX at mypillow.com, I would do it.
Yeah.
Got to help Mike Lindell out, He's crazy. He's a wacky character. But, he's a good man. He's a decent man. He's a decent man, He kicked crack. How many people do you know have kicked anything? But what do you think? What do you think is going to happen with this kind of stuff, especially if these studios keep fucking over directors? I mean, this whole thing happened with Christopher Nolan during the pandemic, where he literally cut ties with the studio he worked with, although he's coming back.
Yeah.
He's coming back to WB.
With
But he
these Oscars,
but
yeah.
he had made, from Batman Begins up until Tenet.
Mm-hmm.
That was all Warner Brothers films. He was a big dude over at Warner Brothers, had a lot of sway, had a lot of pull, and even he couldn't. Although he was like the one that stopped them from dumping his movie onto streaming. He's like, no. I was so bummed too, because it was like I kept seeing trailers for Tenet, and they kept pushing the date back.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with Dune. The first, I know you don't like Dune, but Dune Part 1, when they started all of the like the marketing push for it, and they had all the actors do like a big like webinar thing. I think what's his name, Stephen Colbert hosted it, only for the movie to be pushed back like a year. It was tough for me. It was a tough time for me personally. Austin says it's like the Ted Danson cutout in 3 Men and a Baby that got mistaken for a ghost. Yeah, actually, someday maybe I should do that for Halloween. Just throw like a sheet over him and cut out the eyes. Usually has hats. Sometimes he has like a cigarette or a joint in his mouth. Whatever his pleasure. I don't tell Mike what to do.
Hey, he just keeps that nice stash. Just
that's what's
never
important.
Never shave that thing.
That's what's important. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you think it's inevitable that theaters become just kind of boutique, kind of like physical media's on the cusp of becoming like a boutique thing for people like us that will be suckers and spend $40 on a movie?
It's definitely on that cusp, and I think they're only going to keep around just like the directors that are like the Gen X directors that are still around, like for their last like inch of hope, whatever, like couple movies they can still release out there and produce. But yeah, it really is starting to like dawn on me, and I even talk about this with other people too. Just that the movie theater attraction alone is just like kind of a dying art form.
It sucks. Most movie theaters are fucking awful.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and it does suck. Like a lot of times, I always have like some form of bad experience almost every time, except for during the pandemic. It was kind of high times for me. I was at the theater all the time.
I was dude. You and me both. We were rebels. I think during that time where it was just like nobody's in the theater. All right, I got to myself. Yeah,
dude. Me and my son would go see just random stuff all the time.
Yeah,
because nobody was there. They were all like because they were just playing older movies.
Yeah,
usually like $2 to $5 a ticket. Hell yeah, it was like my dream.
Right.
My wife and I saw Inception on IMAX. They re-released Inception on IMAX with just the two of us. It was amazing.
Nice.
Entire theater out just for us. But that's what I'm curious though, because at some point the talent is gonna turn on these people. I mean, you got whether or not like I really give a shit about it, but like even what happened with Batgirl is a little weird.
Yeah.
Like if you spent all that time, you fucking fully produced a movie, and they're like, oh, it's actually just cheaper for us to not release it in any way. We're not even going to dump it. We're not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a write-off. That's crazy. So I wonder if that it's got to give people pause to like work with them sometimes, especially now.
Right. Well, and also we need to stop giving all these properties and scripts and things to just like these film school nerds who don't touch grass and haven't really lived through life and don't really understand the things they're like fully commenting on. Like this is just like a general like issue I have with just a lot of the movies, especially even the ones that are nominated for Best Picture. They're just like totally infantilized and not anything like like maybe like something like The Holdovers is okay like as an exception to the rule, but like a lot of these movies, like I could write better scripts in my sleep. And I'm not a good writer. I'll put that out there now. But like,
no, I think you're right when you say the word infantilized. I think that kind of hits the nail on the head. Like it's kind of underdeveloped, infantilized people, like forever children that are honestly, and I hate to say this because I'm probably one of them, that are just too into movies.
Yes,
because they treat movies like it's something to raise them. Like their values are based on the movies they grew up with, not like their parents. it's odd. It's an odd thing, but it's something I've noticed. Their morality is completely derived from like Hollywood. It's completely manufactured. And they've completely given over to it. And you see it every day on Twitter. Like the mental illness in film Twitter communities is fucking crazy.
Or Letterboxd, or even
Letterboxd is. I have flown under the radar.
Yeah,
I have never, because I have written some. There's some heinous shit on there that I could definitely get deleted.
Right.
It's gonna get disappeared. You know.
Right. But like stack like some of these like crazy like intense big pictures like you take a film like Amadeus and then you put it against like something like Past Lives. It's like, what happened? There's like this huge gap of just like
because the cultural tone is different. Like what people are celebrating in cinema is different. We used to like kind of strive, and we had the sense of idealism.
Yes.
Honestly, post 9/11 is just the world changed.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look back at like you said, like the Amistad, Braveheart, Saving Private Ryan, Gladiator was kind of the last of that era of those kinds of movies that were done in that way. That were all kind of inspirational and about sacrifice and about like love of country and love of humanity. And
they had ideals. They had things that actually cared about family.
And people have zero fucking interest in being aspirational. What people like is to go see movies that tell them what they already think back to them. They look at buying a movie as if it's a virtuous thing. They're not there to experience a point of view or learn something or whatever. They don't care about that. They just want something that conforms to their ideals, their beliefs, and to themselves. And everyone's a fucking narcissist now, so people only like watching movies that are about people like them. It's so depressing. It's such a fucking bummer. And you see it reflected everywhere. I'm glad. I think people are kind of starting to get sick of like the control that online film nerds have had over Hollywood. And I think Hollywood's getting wise to the fact that they don't even fucking buy movie tickets.
Yeah.
Like they don't go to movies. Like all those fucking people on Twitter. And listen, I'm not throwing too much shade. I've been guilty of it myself a few times. They don't pay for anything. They're not paying to go see fucking movies. They're not. They have a Plex server and a hard drive full of fucking shit from the Pirate Bay.
Right.
And like, again, I'm not trying to say I'm above that or I've never done it. I've done it plenty of times. But I also don't try to control what people do with their art.
Right.
Like, I don't care what people do with their art. In fact, I want somebody that's weird and different than me to go make something so that I can go watch it.
Right.
And maybe see the world differently for 90 minutes. Prava says, I feel your pain. I pre-ordered Kanye's new record like 3 months ago, and it's been pushed back a dozen times. Not sure if I'm ever getting that one. Yeah, that's your Dune. That's your personal Dune. My Arrakis. My Dune. That's you talking about your Kanye album. This is what Kanye West is doing to you right now. You know what? I'm not going to play.
I will say I definitely I haven't listened to anything recent of his, but I definitely jammed to Donda at the gym.
The last one,
I was a sucker. Call me a sucker. Yeah,
it leaked. The last one leaked, and actually, Prophet sent it to Big Paul and I really think Kanye is talented, even if I don't like. It's just not really for me.
Right.
But I intellectually understand that he's very talented. I actually really like his like the instrumental, the arrangements that he does. Mm-hmm. Some of Donda was pretty good, or is it the gospel album he did a couple years ago was pretty good. Yeah,
that one it was pretty much God centric. Yeah. Also, and this is like a weird side note with Kanye, but interesting collaborator with writer, director, skateboarder, musician, a lot of different mixed arts. But Spike Jonze, they are fellow collaborators. Who knows if they'll have something going on in the future? Spike Jonze, man. I hope he's got another movie in him at some point. He would be interesting to see in this kind of sphere of what's going on right now.
Well, Spike Jonze is actually somebody who, he's kind of like who we're talking about, but he actually lives life and then he makes a movie.
Yeah.
Like he has to like have it get divorced or something, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make her. I don't want to be around women anymore. I want an AI girlfriend."
Right.
So he goes and makes that movie. You know.
Yeah.
But let's see here. So Jake Gyllenhaal. He got in trouble, but apparently he is disputing it. He's saying it didn't happen. Allegedly, he was doing Pepe Le Pew voices during rehearsal. He would only rehearse in Pepe Le Pew. He wouldn't let anybody have red cars. He suggested that the construction crew sleep in their cars so they don't spread COVID. That's what the claims were. It says today representatives for Gyllenhaal and Studio Canal are refuting Technicart's account, claiming that this English language version of the film was never greenlit and Gyllenhaal and Kirby's time in Iceland was part of the developmental process. A Studio Canal person said, "Oh, so he did all this crazy shit when they were just like developing the project." These were like, so those must have been like his fucking demands.
Right. Yeah.
That kind of bums me out because I like Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Kind of bums me out if he's like going to be a fucking weirdo. I mean, of course he is. They're all fucking weirdos. What am I talking about? Creative differences are very normal, if unfortunate. Regularities in film development. In this case, there were concerns which simply could not be overcome despite great efforts on both sides. We greatly value all our relationships at Studio Canal and are happy that Thomas Bidigan was able to fulfill his vision on the French language version of Suddenly. We remain deeply committed to our working partnership with both Thomas Bidigan and Jake Gyllenhaal, with whom we have always enjoyed a very strong creative relationship. Bidigan claims Gyllenhaal and Kirby humiliated him by reading the script in a Pepe Le Pew accent. Honestly, I take it back. That's kind of base. Yeah. If they really went up to some French director and were in Poland or wherever they were.
Excusez-moi, we were going to make this film. Yeah.
Oh, but I love you so much.
Yeah.
In his account, he also claims that Gyllenhaal required specific travel requests, including demanding a car that was neither red nor white, as he refused to fly out of COVID concerns. Strangely, Bidigan also makes notes of how concerned Gyllenhaal was about catching COVID in 2021. When the trip occurred, and mocked the actor for refusing to take off his mask, arguing the virus wasn't an issue in Iceland. These people, dude. These fucking people. But the real differences Bidigan found with Gyllenhaal were creative. This was Bidigan's first English language script, and he and Gyllenhaal disagreed on the overall meaning of the film. Bidigan interpreted the meaning, "This is the end of the world, and perhaps love can save us." Gyllenhaal, however, saw it differently. After a walk in the woods and a meeting with a horse, he reportedly returned to the writer's room to allegedly play Greta Thunberg videos over rock music and cry, saying the film was about love of nature. Oh.
How dare you?
Oh, my God. However, sources close to the situation told the AV Club that neither Gyllenhaal nor Kirby were satisfied with the script. Further, our source maintains that this trip to Iceland was part of the developmental process, which aligns with Technicart's account, and that the film was never greenlit. All of that for that, and this is, I guess, the trailer for Suddenly. Our sources asserted that this is all normal part of the process, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So he was nutty. He was COVID nut. He went COVID crazy and started making all sorts of weird demands, and clearly is one of these like Mark Ruffalo types that's actually has no idea about anything he's fucking talking about, and just runs around being a good guy, Richard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotta really wonder what it is with a lot of these, especially the method actor types that just when they play roles that are so not them, how they can't even read into the character that is.
Well, they can't act. It's called not acting.
Yeah,
acting assumes that you are pretending, and you shouldn't have.
Yeah. Well,
Did you ever hear the story about Laurence Olivier and Dustin Hoffman on the set of Marathon Man?
Oh yes.
Have you heard this story? When he's just like Dustin Hoffman's trying to impress him. Oh, I stayed up for 2 days and I'm going really method, and I want you to go as hard as you can. And Laurence Olivier just stops him and says, "Yeah, but Dusty, have you ever just thought about acting?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Austin says, "Bruh." Prop says, "Hi, Austin." Yeah, so that's it. I mean, is there any other news stories that you wanted to cover before we head on to the next thing? I know we didn't cover everything we sent in the Signal thing because there was a lot of stuff.
Nothing else in particular. I don't know if you wanted to quickly just catch that Pauly Shore trailer before we get into the movie at hand, but
oh wait, hold on. There's one thing we do need to talk about.
Okay.
And the Pauly Shore trailer. Well, we might be doing a different movie.
Yeah.
Because the movie's out. You can go watch the short film
Okay.
of the Pauly Shore thing. That's
right,
what we were
right.
gonna watch, but that'll be kind of long.
Right.
It's like 13 minutes. And
Save
if
that
we-
for a bonus or.
So yeah, we could just actually if you ever we'll save that. We'll save that one.
Okay.
Because we could just do that as a watch along thing.
Right.
Because the trailer's not even a thing anymore. We need to talk about this because Jeremy and I have unfinished business with this franchise, everybody. That's right. I'm talking about 28 years later.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the legacy continues.
They just skipped the months and just.
I
Went
know. What happened to months?
Right yeah.
So if people don't know, Jeremy and I, what was it, like 2 years ago now? Has it been that long? Have we've really been talking for that long? Wow. It was like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
It's so weird looking back, but yeah, like it really went that long. We've been going crazy. We've been losing our minds talking about these movies that nobody wants to talk about at length. Yeah.
Jeremy and I did like a 3-hour podcast about both of the 28 days later and 28 weeks later. And then we were speculating about them doing a sequel. Why didn't they ever complete the trilogy? I mean, both these movies, they were kind of lower budget. They did fairly well for what they were. And now they finally announced it 28 years later, Danny Boyle and Alex Garland coming back to do this legacy sequel. Cillian Murphy is a producer on the film. He is not. They don't know if he's in the movie yet, though.
Yeah.
Trembling says Dustin Hoffman getting screamed at by Lily Tomlin after she got screamed at by the director and just taking it is my favorite Dustin Hoffman thing. Yeah, that's from I Heart Huckabees. That was what's that guy's name? The director of I Heart Huckabees. David something. Prophet says I also go into a dark room and watch footage of Greta Thunberg cut over rock music, but I'm not crying.
David O. Russell is who you're
David O.
thinking of.
Russell, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically you guys become, you and Jake Gyllenhaal, you kind of become a version of the Bjork stalker. That's what you guys do.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you that I love you. I just love you a lot, and I hate to see who you're dating.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched it? Have you ever watched that?
No, but I've seen so many examples of that very thing. That's something we gotta also
Dude,
break down one of these days on a
You've never
nightcap.
watched the Bjork stalker documentary? Some guy there's like 3 different cuts of it because there was like 50 hours of tape, and the guy got it down to like 90 minutes, 2 hours. Dude, very compelling, I'll say. Very. You want to see actually inside of the mind of like one of these kind of proto incel guys. It's very interesting.
See, I was never really into Bjork's music per
Neither was
se.
I. Yeah.
But I can totally believe that that kind of stuff was going on. Not even with just that case alone, but like multiple incel types who were just
but this guy was like, he was, because you know what? I'm not even going to spoil it. If you've never seen it, it actually might be fun to actually watch on a nightcap. I've actually had years and I found an old Facebook post that said, I'm thinking about watching the Bjork Stalker documentary on nightcap.
Right.
From like years ago. Trembling says, I prefer the Tiffany Stalker documentary. Oh, is that I Think We're Alone Now? Yeah, that's kind of entertaining. I think I saw it once, like back when it first came out. But anyways, it says here 28 years later, the sequel to 28 Days Later. It's actually the sequel to 28 Weeks Later. You're fired, Drew Taylor.
Yeah.
That will once again be directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland, has found a home. The hotly anticipated legacy sequel, which sparked a bidding war, landed at Sony on Wednesday, the Wrap has learned. I guess Disney kicked it to the curb because Fox they had it originally. The deal for 28 Years Later also includes a sequel to be written by Garland, but directed by an as-yet undetermined filmmaker. This actually somewhat follows the pattern of the first film, which was followed by a sequel called 28 Weeks Later, that Boyle and Garland were not intimately involved with. Juan Carlos Fresnadillo directed the script, blah, blah, blah. Cillian Murphy, the Oppenheimer Oscar nominee who got his big break in the first film, is also back as an executive producer. Reports about the story for the new film have yet to be revealed, but the door is open for Murphy to also appear in the film. Well, it takes place 28 years later. You'd have to play like an old man. And Trembling agrees. He says, no 28 months later? Come on. It was right there. The original came out in 2002 with some still fresh post 9/11 anxieties. Its depiction of a zombie outbreak in modern London. The project looked to update zombie lore both in look and feel with Boyle and cinematographer Anthony Dodd. Blah blah blah. Sorry.
So not to cut you off, if they want to stay in theme, and if my math is correct here, you want to release this movie in 2030. If you want to do the 28 years after the 2002 release.
I mean, does anybody give a shit about fucking continuity, accuracy, verisimilitude, reality? Come on. What's going on, guys?
Come on now.
If you're not going to do months, then do it right.
Right.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I like the first 28. I've seen it too many times, but I do like 28 Days Later, and I think the sequel is like okay. I remember we talked about it. There's some really great moments in the sequel. Even if it doesn't all hang together, there's some great moments.
I was going to say, it falls flat.
Oh, that's right. I forgot how crazy it gets. It turns into like an action movie, and there's like a fucking helicopter coming down and cutting zombie heads off and shit. Yeah.
Because it's that whole Robert Carlyle arc. They just completely...
Fuck that.
Shoved it under the rug. It didn't matter. Yeah.
You know, it's such a cynical. That's honestly one of the most cynical parts of that movie is that like you couldn't like let this guy redeem himself and like save his kids. No, he has to literally become the monster.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, he's just nope. He was a bad guy, and he always was a bad guy. He was always a coward. It's pretty rough.
Pretty dark.
Trembling says a world where 28 years later they haven't destroyed the rage virus completely. Yeah, I guess we're gonna find out. I mean, things were not going great at the end of 28 weeks later. Was it? No, because weren't they going to bomb London or whatever? So that was what was happening?
They wind up in Paris by the end or something like so they're spreading at least. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I want to see how this Civil War movie pans out before I even like speculate what this new sequel is going to be. Because Alex Garland, he's rubbing me the wrong way these days. Like, dude's got to get his shit together a little.
Okay, all right. I was going to ask you, how do you feel about modern day Danny Boyle or Alex Garland? I mean, what was the last thing Danny Boyle did? Hold on, I gotta look. Actually gotta look this up.
Oh yeah. The last thing I saw of his was that Beatles movie that he directed.
Was that
where everybody forgets?
Oh,
Yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, that movie sucked. I think we might have talked about that when we talked about those other movies. Trainspotting, T2 Trainspotting. I need to revisit. I did not really love it the first time, but I have heard I have heard people say that it gets better once you kind of know what it is already.
I had a unique viewing experience of that movie in the theaters, by the way, with two other people. One who thought it was better than 28, or oh my God, 20, not better than Trainspotting. The other who thought it was not as good as Trainspotting, and I kind of came out of it thinking like, oh, that was about just as good. You know, it was on the same level.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
See, when I watched it the first time, I watched Trainspotting and then rolled right into T2 Trainspotting.
Yeah.
I was pretty disappointed because like, it just. I think because I was too connected. I was too stuck on the first one. I wouldn't allow the second one to be what it wanted to be, like to do its own thing, because it's very different. It's very different than the first one, in its kind of in its tone, because it's about nostalgia and it's about reflection and growing up and having grown up and having moved on and then coming back and then kind of having to dabble, meeting old people that you haven't talked to in a long time and that kind of movie.
Coming to terms with like all those consequences of the past and
yeah. So I definitely own it, so I should revisit it sometime. Maybe we'll talk about it. We could talk about it on the show.
Definitely. Yep.
Maybe not as a featured thing, but just as like what I watched this week. Prophet says 28 years later is actually just a shot-for-shot remake of the original, except everyone is Pakistani. So Danny Boyle hasn't done a ton lately. I mean, I didn't see the show Trust or Pistol. I think he was involved in that Sex Pistols show.
Yeah.
I think that was an Apple show. Or is that Hulu? No, this is a Hulu one.
It was one
of
those
also
streaming.
one on, there's also one on Apple, I think. I could be wrong.
His kinetic imagery, his style, his editing is still like always very much consistent.
Mm-hmm.
But it really just depends on the project he picks, because he's kind of just like like one of these kind of studio for hire directors.
It seems
who
like
just
that's
goes,
kind of what he's become.
yeah.
Kind of starting right after 28 Days Later.
Right.
He starts, he does Millions. Sunshine, I can see Danny Boyle wanting to do Sunshine, though.
Sure.
Slumdog Millionaire. I mean, I'm not saying that he's not like passionate about these stories, but I think
No, of course.
I think that there is like he uses them so he can like fuck around with with cinema a little bit. Kind of what Yorgos Lanthimos. Like it's an identifiable style, but you can still see it evolving over like throughout his filmography.
Right.
I mean, I like Danny Boyle. I liked the 127 Hours. I never saw Trance. Steve Jobs was okay.
Trance is kind of underrated. I'd recommend Trance if you ever get around to it.
Yeah, I definitely should want to check it out at some point. Isn't that James McAvoy, and Rosario Dawson, and Vincent Castle?
Yep.
I don't know why I never watched it. It seems like exactly the kind of movie I would want to watch from Danny Boyle. But yeah. Well, the only other news story that comes to mind is that Godzilla -1 is officially the third highest grossing foreign language film of all time in the U.S. So kudos to you, big guy.
Cheers, Japan. Yeah.
Cheers to Japan and your wonderful nationalistic film that captured the hearts of America, because we're not allowed to talk like that about our own country.
No.
So anyways, I'm gonna surprise Jeremy with today's trailer. We're gonna spring this on him like a psychopath.
God damn.
So anyways, get ready. I'm gonna get it ready. Then I'm gonna hit the button. Okay. Here we go. That's right, everybody. It's Trailer Talk. So I don't know what we're doing with this show, the format, what we're doing. It's ever evolving over time. So last time I picked Argyle because it was coming out soon. And actually, Argyle is out tomorrow or tonight, really.
Oh, that's soon, really?
You know what's coming out is it next week? Is Madam Web. So I know you can't wait to see this.
Oh man, I can't wait to
That's
see all
one.
these hotties playing Spider-Man.
You're a big Dakota Johnson fan, aren't you?
I never actually jumped on the whole 50 Shades of Grey train, although I did like her performance in the Suspiria remake, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, she's okay in that movie.
Yeah,
she's all right in that. I don't really have much. I don't know much about her as an actress, actually. Like I've seen,
right.
I've seen like 1.5 of the 50 Shades of Grey movies, and those movies are not they're not an actor's medium, really. It's not like, I don't know if they're not looking for great performances; they're looking for soap opera performances.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what the ceiling on her talent is, but I did like her in Suspiria, and I like that she was a bitch to Ellen DeGeneres one time.
Yes.
That's the thing I've seen of her, when she's Ellen DeGeneres is trying to be passive aggressive and dig about her birthday party.
Yeah.
And anyways, Treving says, I don't know how Dakota Johnson has 2 attractive parents, but isn't attractive herself. Oh my God. Hold on.
If we were to use a Hollywood term, we'd say shots fired.
Shots fired. I mean, I wouldn't say she's not attractive. Hold on, it's trembling. 1 to 10. Dakota Johnson.
This is a new segment we're gonna have to build on for
we're gonna be like
shows.
We're kind of like
ranking.
We're like the Young Turks. They used to rank camel toe.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we're just following in the footsteps of giants, Turkish giants. Trembling says a 4. A fucking 4, dude. Hey, man.
Hey,
are you okay? I'm just joking.
Yeah, I love following in the footsteps of Cenk Uygur of all people. Let's keep it up. Yeah,
big. The Young Turks. I cannot believe it's called the Young Turks, and that Anna Kasparian works for him.
Oh God, yeah.
It's so crazy. It's so funny. Anyways,
yeah, Madam
Web. So let's check it out. I've never watched this trailer, so I'm excited.
All right.
This is the new hit film, everybody, that Sony is literally dumping into theaters, not supporting. They didn't do a second trailer for it, and it comes out in like a week.
Real quick shout out to our low res and Headshot LLC Facebook circles. I think the biggest proponent and fan of this trailer right now is our good old buddy DJ Fitzgerald. I don't know if that's a name that resonates with everybody, but he's been playing this one up. So
he's been hitting it hard.
I'm trusting his word. Yeah.
Trembling said, "Did Anna's camel toe ever come up?" It may have. I don't know. You think if they had any integrity, it would have. Like at some point, you got to be like, well, if I'm judging other people's camel toes, surely, I should also judge my own or offer my own up for judgment. You know, fair is fair. This is about justice. Okay, it's about equity.
Why do you care for me? Why do you know?
Oh, that was the trailer already.
Yeah, actually, yeah. They showed you a trailer for the trailer.
They always do the tease before the act. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a thing. They think that you're so impatient that if they don't show you something that you'll find intriguing in the first 10 seconds, they don't think you'll watch their trailer. Which maybe in the case of Madam Web, that's fair. I don't know. You know, that could be with the case with this trailer specifically. But yes, that's the thing. It reminds me back in the day, Robert Zemeckis. Remember the movie Castaway?
Mm-hmm.
So you because I don't. I always bring up that you're younger than me, but because you're younger than me, when they were promoting the movie and the trailers were out in the theaters and stuff, the trailers spoil the movie.
Yes.
They tell you that he gets off the island in the trailer.
Right.
It was wild. And some people were mad, and there was a bunch of editorials at the time kind of written about it and entered in like Variety, Entertainment Weekly, stuff like that. And Robert Zemeckis like made a statement. He's like, look, people want to know everything about the movie before they go see it, or they won't go see it.
They did the same thing with spoiler alert, they did the same thing with What Lies Beneath. Harrison Ford is the bad guy.
Yes. They did.
Yeah. Oh gosh, talk about Robert Zemeckis trailers that just get completely botched.
Trembling says, I remember Madam Web being some wretched old bitch in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. So did I. That's my only kind of experience with Madam Web, and that's what I thought too. And apparently that's who Dakota Johnson's supposed to become. You know, everything's an origin, guys. You got to start at the beginning. Trembling says, now it's just some plain Jane Walmart cashier. Prophet says, fun fact, Zoobox Goes to the Movies ran for several seasons on the classic Zoobox YouTube channel before Prophet was replaced with a younger, more attractive, and palatable co-host back when we had a country. Well, Dan, you haven't been replaced. Come on now.
Dan, you gotta come on, man.
Also, yeah, Jeremy was on at that time as well. Like, how dare you? Look at this rewriting of history. This is what happens when you listen to David Pakman in your ear all day, Dan. He's rotting you from the inside out. You know what you need to do, buddy? You need to hook up with my friend and rapper, Ben Shapiro.
Oh.
Hey, come on. Get your stuff. Let's go.
Now, I can appreciate some goofy shit. I don't mind something that's campy and a little weird intentionally. I will say this about this. So far, we have a practical stunt. We have practical camera work.
I think that's going to be the extent of it, though.
This one scene.
Yeah.
One scene. Tremming says, one of my sisters needs you to tell her the whole movie before she will watch it. Yeah. It's kind of, I mean, because sometimes you just, you think everybody thinks like you think, and that's not true. And sometimes you just forget that people have their own ways of doing things, and you know what? Sometimes they are fucking unacceptable. You need to call the police on your sister. You need to have her arrested. Oh no, the hot spider guy. He's not cool, guys. You shouldn't have ripped him off.
You remember in when Spider-Man 3 came out, and I think it was like one of the behind-the-scenes trivia where they were worried that the Venom suit was going to look too much like a gimp suit or whatever for Tobey Maguire.
Yes.
And they had to like cut it back a little bit.
Yeah, they had to basically figure out a way to make the black suit like pop.
Right,
like the different shades of black.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember watching the behind the scenes.
This is what we're looking at right now. They just gave up.
Yeah, well, they gave up. Exactly. This is the 50 Shades of Grayification of a gimp suit.
Yeah.
And like, he's sexy as hell. What is going on? Anyways, yeah, he's come here to try to stop them. This is probably the hero of the film. I'm going to assume this is Madam Web from the future. No, I'm just joking. That would be interesting, though.
True.
Let's try that again.
Is this Groundhog Day? I'm just... That's what I want to see. Actually, they should have done that. They should have just done a remake of Groundhog Day, but with this character. I'd be down.
A week
Bill Murray
ago,
should
I
have played
spent
Madam Web.
Bill Murray as Madam Web. Yeah, when she gets old. You look like old fuck Bill Murray. We actually should have watched the fucking. I'm sure we'll watch in the future that stupid the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Oh God, yeah.
Man,
my life racing against time,
I'm gonna help you out today, okay?
trying to save people who were running out of it. Until one moment.
Oh, that's right. Adam Scott's in this movie. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say just let the car tipping over. Oh, that sucks. Yeah,
it's a real bummer.
Yeah.
Look at these brave EMTs. What the fuck is Adam Scott doing this? Because they're like, well, we need like a love interest that can handle kind of being basically the beta side guy, nice boyfriend that's going to be super understanding.
Dude. Oh, that's all these movies as well. Like I'm not to go on another tangent again, but even like what I saw like in Poor Things, it's just like every single like male character is just like always like these kind
an idiot.
An idiot, or they're just yeah. I'm sorry, I'm derailing, but
listen, it's time that it's women's turn.
Yeah.
It's women's turn. Trembling says there's a Groundhog Day trope movie in pretty much every genre. Listen, no lies detected. No lies detected. But they don't all have Bill Murray dressed like Madam Web. Okay? So don't try to shit on my dreams, Trembling.
Save people who were running out of it. Until one moment changed everything.
Welcome back to
And also, these movies are weird because nobody understands where they fit into like any of these franchises. Like, is this a Spider-Man movie? Is it connected to the Venom movies? Like, what is this? Because that's like Sony's whole thing is like they keep leasing or licensing out Spider-Man to Marvel. They're trying to build all this stuff so that when they pull Spider-Man back, all this stuff is built up and they can just launch into a new Spider-Man like series.
Aren't we still waiting on like a Tom Holland and Venom crossover with Tom Hardy?
It was just fan service.
Just fan.
It didn't mean anything.
Yeah,
it was just a fun thing to do. If there was one thing I actually wouldn't mind seeing is a Spider-Man movie with Tom Hardy as bad Venom, not good guy Venom. And I don't even, I'll say this for like these kind of almost shitty superhero movie like Sony stuff and the Fox stuff from the past. These kind of like are back with, they remind me of like Daredevil.
Yeah,
like they're of that quality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Venom ones are probably the best of those movies. I have to watch them, or I don't have to, but I do because my son likes Venom, because my wife really likes Venom.
Right. Just
the character. So we end up seeing the movies. We've watched the movies a lot. So
they're definitely like they're very uniquely fun, and credit where credit's due for Tom Hardy's performance alone. He's so manic the whole time, like I'll take that over most of just like the Marvel fare, Honestly,
the Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage is like barely 80 minutes long, and it's all the better for it. It's like it's like a cartoon movie. It was like watching, I don't know, the Ninja Turtles versus Batman.
Yes, yeah.
And they're kind of fun for what they are, I suppose.
Yeah.
the land of the living.
I don't understand what's happening. I've been having visions. I knew he was gonna die.
Did she turn that guy into a black dude? What the hell just happened? What the fuck is going on? It's Black History Month, Dakota. Jesus.
I've been having visions. I knew.
She did.
She did.
She did.
The magic of editing. Yeah.
Oh my God. What did you do, Dakota? No, that's her magic powers. Madam Web is racist confirmed. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. Cancel.
He was gonna die.
Cancel him.
I think I'm seeing the future.
New York City is a whole new level of crazy these days.
What do you want from me?
Yeah, that's the kind of guy you got to worry about on the train in New York City.
Also, this is like the most unrealistic New York train imaginable.
Well, this is a commute. This is not a subway. This is a train. That's
no,
why.
but even their trains, like they're overcrowded and people look like shit. Yeah. And I'm sorry. Yeah.
And a guy in a fucking business suit that's like somewhat well kempt is not going to be the one with no shoes attacking you.
Right.
On the subway. Okay, it's going to be some guy that used to be a beloved Michael Jackson dancer. A beloved Michael Jackson impersonator. May he rest in peace. Trelling says they keep making Spider-Man shit without Spider-Man. Reminds me of the Gotham show that was every Batman thing, but when Bruce Wayne was a kid. But at least that show had Bruce Wayne, where these movies don't even have a Peter Parker. Peter Parker is a cameo. Yeah, the closest they ever got was in Morbius. He goes by a poster for Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. Just so bizarre. I don't even know if it's in the movie. It's in the trailer. But yeah. Yeah, I know what they're doing. They're building it so if they pull Spider-Man back, they can have like a big event movie in their universe. It's so fucking stupid. It's just so convoluted. Just stop, everybody. Yeah. I would actually, honestly, when that deal was about to fall apart and Tom Holland was going to not be allowed to be in Marvel movies anymore, I was kind of stoked. I was like, sweet. They could take Spider-Man and they can actually let him just go do Spider-Man stories that's not required to be connected to every fucking movie ever made. You know, I sometimes watch these things. I have a young son, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I have a young son. This stuff's going to be around in my life for at least another 15 years. You know, I can't. What am I supposed to do? Tell my kid I don't want to watch something with him? But that would be wrong. It would be evil.
Watch everything. Yeah.
Just watch everything.
You want from me?
New York City is a whole new level of crazy these days.
This is an emergency. Get off.
I like this is how they illustrate. Like, no, she can see they've told us 3 times already. I can see the future. I can see the future, and they needed to demonstrate it for a 3rd time, just in case it wasn't clear.
The train.
That man's trying to kill you.
What?
I bet you this. Actually, I don't even know. I'm gonna look up the runtime. Hold on.
Who are you? What is going on?
This is 3 hours. I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
I can see the future.
Oh, what?
Oh my God! And it's gonna have this kind of humor. This is gonna be a painful one. Let me see here. Madam Web. Oh, it's 2 hours. I thought was like, I bet you this is like a 90-minute. Like they, many times I think they go in with these grand plans. They probably are all very excited and work really hard and think they're gonna make a great movie, and then they see what material they have, and they're like, "Fuck." And they cut it down to its barest essentials. I mean, they did that with Venom 2. They did that with Morbius. I mean, I think Morbius is like 90 minutes.
Right.
And Morbius doesn't even make like almost no sense. That movie's crazy.
Yeah.
Prophet says, a lot of people forget that Evanescence song is from the Daredevil soundtrack. Even few remember how hard that track used to rock. Wake Me Up Inside. Wake Me Up Inside. Oh, it was featured in the movie. It's not from the movie. But it's featured in the movie. It's featured on that soundtrack. We used to bump soundtracks back in the day. That was the era where you would go buy soundtracks.
Right.
And yes, kind of Evanescence kind of went the way of Nickelback, where a lot of people, when they first came out, were really into them, and then everybody turned on them. I stay agnostic. I'm agnostic on the Evanescence question. Trelling says, I bet these gals will be a laugh riot. Well, yeah, they have so much fun. Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants stuff.
What is going on?
I can see the future.
Oh, what the hell? She didn't see that coming?
That's not how it works.
You know what
You gotta-
this movie's missing is I'm glad you bring up Daredevil. It's Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck just having a fight sequence happen on the playground with
On
a
the
bunch
playground.
of kids. Yeah.
Back we see, movies used to be fun, Jeremy.
Back when they were a little bit on the entertaining side of things.
They used to fully embrace camp. I mean,
Yeah.
that is, that fight sequence with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner is very campy.
Yes.
Dude, but when they were making it, because I remember back in the day getting the DVD and like watching the making of, and they think it's the coolest fucking thing ever. They're like, we're really showing everybody what these characters are capable of, and how they're actually a match, how Elektra's actually kind of a match for Daredevil. We really get to see her prowess, because it's really the only real action scene that Jennifer Garner really has. Like, it's really the only fight sequence she has.
It almost felt like Robert Rodriguez stepped on set after doing Spy Kids 2. Like, I'm just gonna direct this scene real quick and then leave.
Just this one scene.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you'll have to come to Troublemaker Studios and hang out in my garage.
Right.
We're gonna shoot this on a treadmill and a green screen.
Yeah.
Nudnik says more fights on seesaws. I agree. Let's bring it back. We used to be a proper country. We would have
Seesaws,
campy fight scenes in the middle of our comic book movies.
Seesaws, carousels, or merry-go-rounds, whatever they call them these days. They just get rid of them all.
I mean, we just don't utilize our public parks like we should.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. They're just sitting there. Nobody goes to them. You know what we could be doing? Filming campy superhero fights on them.
I've seen that man before.
So who is he?
Ezekiel Sims. He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
Oh my God. This is one of these things that's probably, when you're reading a comic book, this kind of stuff, it just kind of washes over you. You're like, okay, sure.
Sure.
But when you hear it in a movie and you see it in a movie, you're like, this is just bad writing.
Yeah.
Like, this is just clunky, and you clearly have no way of actually like telling people what the fuck is going on in your story without just having this very direct narration. Prophet says, you want to impress me, Madam Webb? Go work on an oil field. Do roofing. F&B.
No, but you're absolutely right, though. Like, who does this actually appeal to? Because it's definitely not Marvel fans.
I think they know that this is not appealing to anybody. That's why they're not doing anything. They've stopped promoting it, essentially. They never cut a second trailer. Usually there's this, they have your initial trailer, and then there's a follow-up close to its release that kind of shows you more of the movie, or maybe shows you parts of a new sequence or something. They did not do that with Madam Web. They did not do that. They've kind of just abandoned it. And it's probably, why? You know what it is, Jeremy? Sexism. Oh, you guys wanted to put out a movie for the girls, did you? Oh, we'll see about that. And then the head honchos at Sony, these Japanese guys, okay? They're not cool with that. They say girl power. No, not in our country. Trembling says, who was her mom? Julian Sands? Jesus Christ. Good old arachnophobia. Prof says, by the way, did you know I see the future?
Oh, by the way, Arachnophobia, one of those movies I want to definitely cover one of these days.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Throwback, yeah.
I love Arachnophobia. Actually, I can't wait to show my son Foster that movie. It's going to freak him out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to do it before. Actually, my brother just bought a house, and it's down it's in an area in a town that looks kind of like the Arachnophobia town.
Right.
And his house is kind of like an Arachnophobia house. I was like, oh, I'm going to show this before we go to Alabama.
Yeah.
Be awesome.
Wait, I recognize you. You live in my building. You're the paramedic.
Yeah, you almost ran me over.
Well, good thing they're all connected, because it's going to make this a lot easier. You know what I mean?
You don't think this is weird? How we're all connected?
It's honestly the least weird thing that's happened all day.
And just are we judging this movie too harshly, Jeremy? Are we just seeing the bad parts? Is it just hard to cut a trailer for Madam Web, and we're really looking at what could be a masterpiece?
It also has a slight, even just how it's shot, like a TV miniseries production feel to it. I can't like put my finger on it, but like it definitely just doesn't like live up to like theater, high praise expectations that past Spider-Man films have done.
It's got this what I call CW writing.
Yes,
it's like it's just like you said. It's kind of like it looks like it feels like a TV movie, even if it's like a little slicker than that because of it's obviously has a bigger budget. But the writing is about at that quality because that is what is Phil's writers' rooms now are a generation of like we were talking about earlier, like infantilized, soft wokesters.
Babies.
Actually, there's a big scandal that went on, and I know it was going around on like all those like Film Threat and Nerdrotic channels and stuff.
Yeah,
a bunch of leaks out of the WGA and people that are in the WGA that are kind of were whistleblowers basically for the discrimination, the active discrimination that's going on in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And how it's changing when it comes to writers. And if you're just like a working writer, you're kind of fucked unless you're like a fit very specific criteria. Like somebody leaked like basically like a resume fill out sheet, like a job application sheet, and it wants you to list your sexual orientation on it to get a job like working on a Netflix show.
Oh, dude, yeah, I can believe that, and also like. To extend that even further, and I thought this was kind of a political myth for a long time, but my brother and his girlfriend, like apparently the college that they go to, they do actually ask in like certain like submission forms, like what is your political
pronouns.
alignment, what are your pronouns, where like all these things. I'm like, this is not appropriate. Things, or like these are private things that you should not be asking like anybody that is just like trying to go there for school,
Yeah, well, it's because it's designed to carve you up into like little identity pieces and to see if you fit what they need. It's literally to actively discriminate against you. The sexual orientation one for a job though, that's a new one. That's the most
that's the newest one.
Kind of that's the most egregious one I've seen out there. I mean, other than like, what is your race? Are you a lesbian? Are you gay? How do you present? What do you call yourself? And these are to get writing jobs, to be in a writer's room. You're not even talking about being top dog. This is to get a job in a fucking writer's room on a Netflix throwaway show that 5,000 people will watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, I call myself Jeramobi, and I'm a movie maker who gets by, does his thing, and shuts the fuck up. Man.
Hey man, I'm a reliable guy, dude.
Yeah.
I'll work for you, man. I love you. Trelmick says bad exposition of people just telling other people their life story isn't weird or awkward to them because it's what they actually do with each other, telling each other their woke stats and sexual history, etc. Actually, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
It goes back to kind of what we were talking about before, where people have this. It seems like modern writers kind of have an inability to write characters that don't sound like they talk.
Right.
I think this is a really strong example, and if you've ever seen anything this guy has written, I think you'll agree, is Max Landis. Max Landis cannot write characters that do not sound like Max Landis.
No, it's all his like really weird, freaky, like schizophrenic aneurysms that just bleed into his dialogue.
It's angsty, earnest.
Right.
And I'm not even like a huge hater of that guy, Max Landis. People like really despise him. I kind of don't understand. Sure. I think he was a Hollywood fuckboy for a little while, and that's that generation of people are very oversensitive and really hold that shit against you and try to ruin your life as a consequence of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And he kind of got chased out of the industry over being a bad boyfriend. Somebody accused him of basically being a bad boyfriend, and he talked shit about Rey from Star Wars. And then it was like open season on Max Landis. He was like really ridiculous. But anyways, he occasionally, because he's very transparent about working though in the industry and selling scripts and stuff like that. So some of that stuff is actually, his interviews can be interesting occasionally. Tremming says, I say it goes back to Joss Whedon, but I haven't saw if he's quippy cunt like all of his characters. Yes, no, Joss Whedon is another example. Very similar to Max Landis in that way. But yeah, he just writes quips. Everybody speaks in quips. Everybody's too clever. Everybody's annoying.
What's the classic one? They fly now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I grew up watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
So I'm like pretty familiar with his writing style, his work.
Yeah.
And he never evolved. He's never been more than a television writer. I mean, even if you go watch the Avengers movies, those are like
they feel
TV
like
shows.
television.
They feel like television.
Yeah,
they got big budgets, but they feel like episodes of television.
Yeah.
I have no idea what those girls are coming.
Why don't you run from me?
I think he can see into the future.
What are you wondering?
He's trying to change what happens. Julia, get down!
Like, how do you exist? How does this world exist? This universe exist where like there's Spider-Man, but there's also all these other like this group of girl boss Spider women. Seems like, I mean, this is a coincidence bordering on contrivance.
That's been what's so been contrived about the whole Marvel franchise lately is just how they have not had any sort of crossovers or moments where they would actually meet. All of this would make headline news. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, look, it's all a work of fiction, but it's still retarded at the end of the day. You know?
We need to have Tom Holland needs to come. He needs to be in Madam Web, okay?
Yeah.
And he needs to hang dong. But we got to put butts in seats.
Right.
Trelling says Whedon was just the nerdy version of Aaron Sorkin, except I don't mind Aaron Sorkin because it's intentionally rhythmic and theatrical. And I don't love I don't agree with very much of his politics or I don't even like I've never been a big fan of The West Wing, really, honestly. I'm kind of indifferent about it, I guess. But if you read his script or the Social Network, it's really good. And part of what makes it really good are that the performances are based on the rhythm of the dialogue in the script, and that's a very specific way to deliver that stuff. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, I guess. But yeah.
Why aren't you scared of me? Why do you care for me?
Your future was almost so different.
Where do we go?
If you want to live, you have to trust me.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what this movie is about. And I guess it's about this mystery guy who's skipping through time as well, trying to kill these girls before they become who they're meant to be. This is kind of like a Terminator. He's like a liquid Terminator type thing going on, you know? He's got to come and kill Madam Web and her girls.
Ruin her Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Get ready. Now!
You're showing off.
Maybe a little.
Showing off doing what? You see the future. Do you have other powers?
I think I've seen the whole movie at this point too.
It does,
that trailer showed everything.
That feels like it kind of sums it up.
Yeah.
Well, that comes out in theaters very, very soon, everybody. So get ready for it. Madam Web is upon us.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it didn't work out with Zendaya, but Tom Holland, he might come back and screw Madam Web. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah.
Listen, I know Trembling would not approve, but this could happen. This is a possibility. Trembling says this guy is a stupid Spider-Man villain, but I guess here he's an alternate evil Spider-Man villain. I see. I'm not very familiar with a lot of extended Spider-Man lore. My Spider-Man experience is a few comic books. I've read a few of the famous arcs and the cartoon. I grew up watching the 90s animated show. And I've actually revisited that with my son over the past few years, and it's a very entertaining show if you like Spider-Man. They don't make shows like that. They don't make these cool-ass shows like that anymore. They really don't.
No, apart from more easy, child-friendly educational programming like Bluey or something, which I only know about through my baby brother right now.
I know all about Bluey.
Yeah. They don't make shows though regularly like action superhero,
they
Ninja
used to
Turtle
just
like shows anymore.
Yes, exactly, like the classic Ninja Turtles, where they're like fun and they're action orientated, and all of the characters are like virtuous, good people that are like they're heroes, unambiguously heroes, but they also have to deal with kind of mundane life stuff, especially like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They were still teenagers, and it makes it fun. It makes it, because I watch those occasionally with my kid, and they're pretty fun. I mean, I wouldn't ever like sit and watch them by myself or something, but
right.
They're cool for what they are, and I kind of I mourn the loss of that kind of stuff, because I grew up watching a lot of like syndicated cartoon shows from the 80s that only had like one season, and a lot of them were based on rated R movie franchises.
Yeah.
Much like the movie we're about to watch. Here's a little taste. So 1982, Rambo comes out. By 1986, they had a cartoon.
Yep, that's right.
The Coralco did the cartoon too. Isn't that awesome? I'd be watching my dad's VHS tapes, then I'd pop on over to the TV and catch some reruns of Rambo, the Force of Freedom. And what I do like about this is the last time I'm going to pause for a second.
Sure.
What I like about these, they are all pseudo sequels to the movies that they're from.
They're all canon. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like canon. Like if you go watch the RoboCop the animated series, it literally does a recap of RoboCop 1 in the intro.
Right.
And it's actually awesome. It's like my favorite part of watching the show. Let me see here. Trembling says it's from a bad era of Spider-Man, where they went real mystical with Spider-Man, and his character was the big bad of that era. Okay. Dude, I mean, come on. How fucking cool is that? Imagine being like 7 years old, stumbling across this.
Yeah.
Rambo. Anywhere and everywhere, the savage forces of General Warhawk threaten the peace-loving people of the world.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lot of these have this model of show where like Captain Planet was the most popular version of this.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, the Godzilla '98 cartoon show is like this, was like a shadowy figure controlling the world, and they have these team of scientists. Tremix says there was supposed to be an even be an alien kids cartoon, which they shot a pilot for, but scrapped the cartoon, but still came out with the toys. The toys ruled. I had most of them. I had a lot of those toys too, actually.
There's only one man to call. Get me Rambo. From the canyons of skyscrapers to the canyons of remote mountain peaks.
Dude, like, you have no idea how fucking cool this was when I was a kid.
Oh, dude, I mean,
because I watched the movie with my dad, and then I would go watch the cartoon. Like, it was amazing.
And it helps that they still keep the theme song. They still keep just like the action heavy.
It actually feels like It feels like Rambo.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, maybe Rambo 2.
More so,
but like, but it has like this the tone of the theme and stuff. It all works. It all plays.
His champion is unstoppable. Rambo, helped by the mechanical genius known as Turbo, and the master of disguises named Cat, the honor-bound protector of the innocent.
Dude, I gotta meet Cat.
I know.
Cat.
Yeah, hold on now.
Trembling says, man, the first 3 Rambo movie scores rule so much, especially the second one score. The second one score is great. I do really love the original, though. And we're going to talk about that in a second.
Rambo.
Actually, this is over. So.
I was going to say, the modern day Rambo cartoons, like, well, Rambo needs to talk about his feelings. We need to get these things off his chest.
Yeah.
And,
well, you can't just be a heroic action guy. It's just
no,
not
you can't.
allowed.
No.
It's just not allowed, dude.
Nope.
And it's not cool. It's not fair.
It ain't right. It
Ain't right, goddammit. It ain't right. All right, everybody. Well, I think that brings us to our main event. We're going to be talking about Rambo First Blood.
The main movie review.
That's right, everybody. What's up?
And real quick, before we get into the main review, do you mind if I take a quick 2-minute break?
Yeah.
Before,
you got it, dude. Yeah, just right. I should have asked you, and that's my bad because I am I have a streamer bladder.
Right.
So everybody, okay, we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Just come back and sit down, and I'll start back up. All right.
Okay.
Everybody, we're back. We're going to be getting into the main review. We're going to be talking about 1982's First Blood. The film is directed by Ted Kotcheff. It's written by David Morrell, who wrote the original novel. That's based off of Michael Cozzoli, William Sackheim, Sylvester Stallone, Ted Kotcheff. A lot of names on this script. They were working on this script pretty much till the end of production, actually. And the logline plot synopsis is: a veteran Green Beret is forced by a cruel sheriff and his deputies to flee into the mountains and wage an escalating one-man war against the pursuers. And here's a little TV spot for you back from 1982.
He was harassed for no apparent reason. He was arrested for no particular crime. Starting to dislike you. Lot. They thought they'd found an easy mark. They were wrong. Sylvester Stallone. This time he's fighting for his life. First Blood. Rated R. Starts Friday, October 22nd at theaters everywhere.
Well, there you have it. That's a cool way to present that movie. Listen, it's basically about a guy becoming a libertarian. That's what it sounds like.
I have to wait all the way till October 22nd?
God damn it. I'm never going to be able to see this movie. I got cancer. Prop says, I have never seen Rambo 2 or 3, but the one with the riverboat was fucking dope. Are you talking about just Rambo or Rambo 2? Well, if you've never seen Rambo 2, because there's also like a riverboat sequence in Rambo 2, but there's also a riverboat sequence in Rambo. Rambo 4.
Yeah.
When they finally stopped fucking around and just called it Rambo, like we've all been calling it for years.
Right.
Anyways, so like we said, we talked about this movie a year ago. We're here to talk about it again. Let's just start off basics like we normally would. So, Jeremy, is this a movie that you grew up watching? Like, what is your story? What's your history with Stallone's First Blood here?
I didn't grow up with First Blood. I definitely grew up with Rocky. I think through my dad and maybe my grandpa as well. Actually, it would just come on all the time on cable and things like that, and I would watch it with them. So I knew who Sylvester kind of Stallone was at the time, and then I also, yeah, I weirdly enough, like I probably recognized him in Spy Kids 3D before I ended up watching First Blood. Yeah. But that was when, like, once I hit my teen years, I was just doing full-fledged like film.
Yeah, me too. I
classic,
did the same.
you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I went
Right.
back through and watched everything. Like
Yeah.
my local library had a great actually selection
Right.
of movies. But I was doing the same thing. I caught up on a lot of stuff, but First Blood was definitely something that was around. I think there was the VHS tape was in my house.
Yes,
growing up.
yeah. And I don't know if you have the same experience, but I did. I probably had like a closer experience with this movie. Actually, it was a weird example where like both my mom and my dad both liked this film,
Mhm.
and I watched it with both of them. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the experience I had. I mean,
Yeah.
I grew up watching it with my dad. Like, my dad was very into movies and stuff, but he was kind of a normie, and he kind of just like had the movie. Like, we went to see like every Schwarzenegger movie. We went to see every Stallone movie. Like, I saw the remake of Get Carter in the theater with my dad.
Right.
So we're definitely in the bag for these kinds of things. And First Blood was always like kind of a favorite. It was just always in the rotation. Even my extended, like my cousins, everybody liked Rambo for some reason, and we were all like little kids. I was like 6, 7 years old, and we're all just hanging out watching First Blood all the time. Like,
yeah.
Like, the score is seared into my brain.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's so distinct, and it's so and it's such a great score too. It really strikes us because it's a character-driven thriller, and it strikes this really nice balance between kind of the folksy, thoughtful side of things and also like the tight thriller side of things, and it encapsulates that in that score. And I feel like a lot of that kind of that sense, those sensibilities come directly from Ted Kotcheff and his collaboration with Stallone, in terms of like how to make a movie like that. We talked about Ted Kotcheff, another one of his movies, on Jeremy's podcast, Flea Pit After Dark, like a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last Christmas, not this past one, but the one before that, and that was also directed by Ted Kotcheff. And when we kind of noticed that he had also directed First Blood, you're like, oh, we definitely got to talk about First Blood because this is such an interesting evolution as an artist, And unfortunately, I think he kind of stumbled and kind of lost his way, and then became kind of just like a hired guy, kind of after Uncommon Valor.
Yes,
because that's when he's like doing TV movies, TV shows, Weekend at Bernie's, then pretty much exclusively TV movies. He's done a few things in the past year, but nothing super substantial.
But he found a very niche period where everybody was being so experimental. Yeah, you take from like 1970, just start from 1970 or 1969 to early 80s. Like, people, like, they just kind of like just what was gonna stick on the wall. They just kind of went for it, and not you'd get a hit and miss here and there, but like even then, like that's what was like the prime time for directors, kind of like Ted Kotcheff at the time, to do something kind of like that.
Well, because he was
avant-garde. Yeah,
he did kind of avant-garde stuff that was kind of examining the male psyche post World War II, post Korea, and post Vietnam.
Yeah.
And dealing with like kind of how men were trying to find their place in a weird way, because that's what Wake and Fright is largely about. It's like almost a coming of age story.
Yeah.
In a very an aggressive one and a weird one, but and in a weird way, First Blood being a follow up to Wake and Fright isn't that weird.
Oh no, yeah.
In my opinion, because it's a movie I've seen a million times. I never get sick of it, but it starts off on such like this kind of subdued, melancholy kind of note that you would expect from him. Like, he's bringing like some texture to it. He's letting you know that this is a real person, and we're actually going to learn about him, and we're gonna get inside his head a little bit.
And also, like, coming from I guess the mindset of like, I'm gonna adapt this novel, but I'm gonna do it much better. I'm gonna actually get really like crazy with it and not follow up on what that was trying to do. Not be a faithful adaptation by any means.
He was because he kind of comes on as kind of a little bit of a hired hand. He was involved with this project more than once. He was involved in it back in like 1976. The original book was written in 1972, and it was immediately optioned. I mean, Robert De Niro was attached to this. Al Pacino was attached to it. There were some interesting directors that were attached to it over the years. And they all kind of took the novel's tone, which the novel's tone is almost completely different. I've actually listened to most of the book. And he is just a crazy PTSD-ridden Vietnam vet in the book. He's a killer. He's killing. He's mowing people down.
Oh, he's a serial killer in the book, pretty much. Yeah.
And Stallone, coming off of the Rocky series, kind of understood fundamentally. He's like, well, we cannot make him a villain. Like the audience has to be on this guy's side. He cannot be a villain. That was the Stallone thing. That was a Stallone touch because they had a bunch of different versions of the screenplay. Stallone did like the second to last pass at it basically, and kind of fundamentally changed a lot of, especially with the character. Trembling says when Rambo 4 when he liquefies that dude with the 50 cal machine gun. Yes, that's a good part. That's a standout moment. Trembling also says I love the Rambo movies as a kid, but my eyes glazed over at the Rocky movies. It took until I was an adult to be able to appreciate those. I would say I always liked the Rocky movies, but now that I'm an older person, I got a little road behind me. I actually love those movies now.
Oh yeah.
And I've kind of just grown to appreciate them in ways that I never did when I was growing up. Prof says, quote unquote, he was harassed for no reason. He was arrested for no particular crime. Hard cut to Michael Jackson. And then Trembling says, not turning down stuff is a mistake, especially then. Well, that wasn't the case back in the day with Stallone. Stallone was pretty picky about projects because he hit meteoric success with those Rocky movies. I mean, he was a household name like overnight. And I think it's First Blood's like the last movie he made where he wasn't a nightmare to work with.
Yeah, where his ego didn't go through the roof.
Yeah. I mean, because once he gets to Nighthawks, it's over. Like, he is an egomaniac.
Yeah.
There's so many funny stories about Stallone on Nighthawks, on Cobra. Like, what a fucking monster he was. But so Ted Kotcheff and Stallone together really come together in this really great collaboration to give you something that you would not expect from a movie like this. Especially because we just watched the trailer, right? It kind of sells you a little bit of a different movie. It sells you something that seems like it's a little bit more like kind of straightforward action movie. But I find a lot of pathos in First Blood. It's a really kind of sad movie. And it's a sad movie about a country like reeling with what to do with veterans and public perception and guilt for the people that went over with the people that didn't go over, kind of conflicts at home with authority. Because you have people like the Brian Dennehy character, Sheriff Teasel, that's kind of a stand-in for, I think, the way about some people felt about veterans when they came home. Like, you lost. You lost the fucking war. Like, why should I feel bad for you? And he kind of expresses that a few times in the movie. It's like he's doing more than his job. He immediately, right off the bat, just kind of takes this personally.
It's almost like this weird, you could maybe argue, maybe it was a little before, maybe slightly after, but like this cultural turn of where like U.S. Nationalism even is kind of just disregarded now because, you have the Sheriff Teasel, like he looks at that badge like on Rambo's shirt and immediately he's like, oh, I know who this guy is. What he's all about, he's the next generation that's coming back from the war in Vietnam, and he is a shame. He's a disgrace. And it's like those two like conflicting viewpoints of what these U.S. forces were at the time. The Korean American War, U.S. Or World War II, even if you want to like go that far back.
I think it goes
and the Vietnam. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. No, I think it goes back to I include World War II because like the people that fought in the Korean War and the Vietnam were the sons of people from World War II.
Right.
And so they are kind of extendedly affected by that war because of what that happened to their dads. Yeah. A lot of people don't. I don't know why it's not talked about, but the amount of people that came back from World War II, like really fucked up, like seriously fucked up.
Yes.
Is way more than people appreciate. Because people, we have kind of an idealistic notion about that generation, the greatest generation. And we kind of see them as invincible because they're abstract concepts almost. They're like action figures sometimes. I think sometimes people can see them that way. It might be changing more now. But people never really paid attention to that, and their families suffered for that, leading all the way. I mean, this is what leads into like the sexual revolution in the 60s and everything that was going on, and then the Vietnam War, having that generation of men being at this kind of this pointless war, like a truly pointless conflict, like, just being shoved into a meat grinder. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what it's like to come back from that and having all of those conflicted feelings about like what you've done, how people feel about you. And I love that this movie actually kind of touches on those things, and it touches on it more than once. So it's like, it's intentional. Right. It's not like something that you could read into. It's like explicitly in the text.
Mm-hmm. And you have to admire the complexity in that with the Brian Dennehy performance as well, because he is essentially a guy. He is trying to do his job. He kind of serves as sort of like authoritarian position where he wants to protect his town. Not have things go wrong, but of course he has these biases, and he just this different way of life that he saw when he was younger.
And it's all in his performance.
Yes,
it's in his performance, because none of that is explicitly stated. Like there's the scene in the bar with him and Troutman.
Yeah.
When they're kind of having a little bit of like a heart to heart, if you will, or the closest thing to that.
Yeah.
Like he kind of expresses that he has disdain because that soldiers don't have respect for the men that stayed behind. Mm-hmm. So he has kind of a disdain. They don't think they should have to like listen to him. Like he's not an authority to them because of what they've been through. Right. And he takes it personally. And I actually made a note when I was watching it. It says the authority that is derived from ability rather than a badge. Social contracts don't mean much if someone doesn't believe in it. So when they come across somebody like John Rambo, who is just going to be like, well, no, I'm not going to you're doing something unjust to me. I'm not just going to bend the knee just because.
Yeah.
He sees the limits of that tested, because normally, like, he's the cop, he's the sheriff. People probably just listen to him, right? He's not used to somebody being like indignant and not listening to him and giving everyone a hard time and not allowing them to book him properly, etc.
Right.
Which is a great sequence, actually. The movie kind of starts immediately. There's a little bit of an intro there. We were talking about this nice song comes in. We see John J. Rambo on the road, goes to meet one of his buddies to find out that he's dead. So John's now the last of his unit, this elite unit, to even be alive.
Actually, Sean, just so you can remind me too. Let me get my bandana.
There you go. Yeah, put it on. Let's do it. Let's get in there.
We can go full Rambo here, but no.
Trembling had said, no, you could. Why not? Wear it. Trembling had said, I mean the director here. Doing TV in the 80s when you make movies was a mistake and hurt your reputation. Yeah, you're probably 100% right about that.
Yeah.
It's not exactly what it is today. It wasn't prestige TV. What, people don't like The Love Boat?
No.
Too good for The Love Boat? He also says, I'm glad they had the other cop be worse than Teasel, though. Yes, because they're able to kind of offload the villainy to this guy. What's his name? Oh, fuck, I wrote it. Jack Starrett. He plays golf.
Yes.
Who, I'll just say it right now.
Also writer and director, too, not just an actor. And again, my I don't know what you're about to say. My secret MVP.
Yes,
total motherfucker in this movie. But
he's not even actually. Is he even like really a secret MVP? He's not, because he's pronounced. But I that was my choice as well.
Right.
I think I could also give David Caruso a shout.
Yes,
because David Caruso's performance is kind of like the new guy, the greenhorn.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good, and I love that he really reflects the small town nature of it. Like he doesn't even know how to take this seriously.
Yes,
and he's kind of smarmy, and when they get the call in from the radio after Galt has fallen out of the helicopter, And he's like a fucking Green Beret. He's like, just great, just great.
Even
and then Denny, he grabs him and he's like, see that? It's my fucking friend there. But he's good. He's good in the small little bit that he's in. Yeah. Sorry.
I was gonna say I even loved like this a lot of this police force too in this small town. They shot this in British Columbia, Canada. But even like a good portion of this police force, like they're all like young 20-somethings too. Like they don't have any experience. They never went to war or anything like that. So like this is like their most experienced.
The greatest adversary. They've never dealt with anything like John Rambo.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Actually, you know who might be a secret MVP? Is one of the Weekend Warrior guys. The dude who shoots the rocket into the tunnel.
Yes. Okay.
That's such a great. It's such like it's like an oddly, because it's funny. It's like very real.
Yeah.
And it also reinforces this idea like these guys have no clue what they're doing. Like this is small town shit, like magnified by 1,000. Like these dudes really do not know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's and it goes to show you how not just their ineptitude, but like not just their ineptitude, but also that they're that they kind of like they don't realize how stupid they are.
Well,
they don't realize they can't handle it, and that's almost part of the problem, especially when it comes to like Sheriff Teasel. By the end of the movie, is like he just won't give up. He just won't stop.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's stubborn like the whole way through. Like all the cops, they're not even familiar within their own territory, within their own like forest. Like this is a jungle that Rambo has grown up around in the army. So he knows what he's doing. He knows how to like get around and like stump every single one of them.
I think, and they do a great job of setting that up, like just initially right off the bat, because you know when Dennehy's searching him and he finds the big Bowie knife.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What do you use that for?" Well, he's like, "Well, I use it for hunting." And he's like, "Okay." They can't even believe that there's a person that can do that kind of stuff.
Right.
They
a
are
bear,
totally,
like with a bare knife or something. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like totally out of their element.
Yeah.
Totally out of it. But here's just the scene here. I also really like this guy.
Yes.
The dog guy.
Uh-huh.
The guy with the dogs. He gives a great performance as well. I mean, pretty much top to bottom, everybody's having fun.
Everybody's great, yeah.
In Rambo First Blood. And I love this whole sequence, and it's such a great start of the sequence, the way that they use the rain, the way that they use the lightning to constantly create reveals, kind of like a horror movie section of the film.
Exactly.
Where, you know, you have the killer. You have the killer stalking in the forest, maiming people. I guess not the killer, the maimer. You know, because we're not gonna lay the blame for Galt on John Rambo. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy, dude.
And it's that, you know, like going back a little bit, it is that Jack Starrett, Deputy Sergeant Art Galt, who just he gets the worst of it. The one accidental death of like, you know what? It's so funny. Like growing up when I watched this film, I always thought Rambo was killing people, but then as I got older, I'm like, oh yeah, he kind of just gets away scot-free without like only injuring everybody that like he comes in contact with, but he's not actually a killer. And
he's not killing anybody. And that was, you know,
I love that aspect. Yeah. It
was intentional because Stallone knew if they start killing people that are like this, these are like local yokel guys. They are way out of their element. They have no business messing with somebody like John Rambo.
Yeah.
And that's like, so if Rambo was to start killing these dummies who are kind of like, I know that they're the villains, but they're not that villainous.
No.
I mean, you could say, I think Galt, obviously, because him and Dennehy, and I think this goes back to what I was saying before about Dennehy being a stand-in for the feelings of a generation.
Mm-hmm.
I think Galt is part of that. And I think when he expresses the idea of like, you guys have no fucking respect for the people that had to stay here.
Yeah.
And keep society functioning. And, you know, he has kind of, I don't know if they're delusions of grandeur, but he has like a perspective on what he has been able to offer the world while the rest of it was falling apart.
Yeah.
I want to see,
I was gonna say Galt definitely has like a specific vendetta or something against like that generation. It's so weird, like when you compare his performance to Dennehy, because Dennehy is like he's at least trying to like somewhat keep things balanced while still like on the hunt for Rambo, but
yeah.
Jack Starr, like he's like vicious. He's going.
Well, I mean, and he's kind of the inciting thing that makes Dennehy kind of double down on this endeavor, right?
Right,
Like because it's his best friend. I mean, we've all had a shitty friend.
Yes, yeah.
That we still like nonetheless. And he's Dennehy's guy. He's Dennehy's version of that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get this moment. There's a really great moment with there he is. It's when he starts yelling at the guy who's flying the helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really great moment of our not so secret MVP of the movie. Because it's really, I mean, like he's front and center, but he's not in the movie that much. So I mean,
he's like the fourth actor because it's like a three-way thing with Stallone, Crenna, and Dennehy. So
yeah.
Trembling
says the part where Rambo starts getting hit by rats always skeeved me out. Yes, they used to creep me the fuck out too.
Right.
Another amazing sequence in the movie, all natural light with that torch. So cool. Just so dynamic. It looks so cool. Trembling said they never let Rambo kill dogs these days, even though they're sent to kill him. Well, he technically kill one of the dogs just off screen, doesn't he? One of the
you hear like a whimper or something like a dog got. I can't remember actually.
He got.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's see this. Let's see this little bit of Stara's performance here, because this is like one of my favorite parts of the movie. Oh shit! I gotta stop everybody. It's because I don't want us to get blocked.
Sure.
Just calm down.
What the hell's going on?
What are you doing? We're just supposed to spot him.
Hold it steady.
I can't. We're in a thermodraft. Jesus, Norm, he's stuck there. He can't.
Here it comes. He's gonna turn around and say something to this guy. It's like one of my favorite moments ever.
Going in place.
You don't fly this thing, right? I swear to God, I'll kill you.
What a perfectly delivered line.
Right.
If you don't fly this thing right, I swear to God, I'm gonna kill you. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
So good. So delicious. Delicious scenery chewing, but that doesn't make itself too obvious.
Well, and also it speaks to Starr's character because he a lot of the scripts and films that he would direct, they all kind of feed into this kind of like small town bike racing. I talked about this, I think, before last year when we recorded the show.
Yes, no, we did. We talked about because the same thing happened, I think.
Right. But roadshow quality, like libertarian sort of like movies that are very like, oh, the cops are evil. We gotta like get the family out of here, and and he's playing like a very corrupt cop on a helicopter trying to shoot Rambo. Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. He's got. I mean, he's a cool dude. He directed a lot of TV shows. It seems like back in the day, in a couple movies. Kiss My Grits was the last movie he did in 1982.
Yeah.
A man heads for Mexico with a mobster's girlfriend. Oh my goodness.
Sweet.
Would watch. Yeah. He's awesome. Secret MVP, not so secret MVP.
Not so secret MVP. What is? The secret MVP is the dog guy. Yeah,
the dog guy, or maybe one of the Weekend Warrior guys. Like,
right.
I just really enjoy that because they have the three or four guys that are there and like the little like on the log.
Mm-hmm.
They just have good chemistry.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a Richard Linklater movie all of a sudden. Austin says, "Whoa, Bruno Kirby is in Kiss My Grits. Laugh out loud. I saw part of it recently." Oh, there you go. Cool.
Hey, alrighty. Yeah. There's a connection everywhere you see.
Everywhere you go.
You rewatched this again for this show. So, is there anything new or nuanced or different that you, or I guess, stood out to you from Stallone's performance in particular? Or
I mean, nothing really new because I've already been like an appreciator of its nuance, I guess, for a little while.
yeah.
But it really struck me how like powerful that last monologue is, like how intense it is, and like it's such a hell of a performance from Stallone. He really brings it. He really delivers on that. And and part of the reason is because like that monologue he gives is made up of a bunch of real stories.
Yeah,
real guys really happened to guys, and that they collected to make the most intense Vietnam thing ever. And it kind of reveals that the movie itself is very sympathetic to vets. It is a little more almost. Is it we consider it right leaning just because it was sympathetic to vets, which wasn't like a thing. You know, you got to remember what time this movie comes out, 1982.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say like to the time. Possibly, but it's so hard to categorize that nowadays. You know, it really is kind of.
Well, like, today in 2024, First Blood reads right wing.
I think so, but I don't know. Yeah, it's yeah.
Or not? Or do you think not? Do you think it has more of that Khrushchev like hippie kind of? Sentiment, because it's in there. It's definitely in there.
No, I mean just the emotional side alone. I mean, we've got a show on Dead of Night, which kind of deals with a couple of similar themes.
Yes, it does, 100%.
And I think there's definitely a hippie side to that kind of storytelling, which is really compelling in a way too, and I think opens eyes on both sides. I think they're like everybody's like emotionally kind of connecting more now with like what's going on with a movie like this at this time, 1982, but not probably in 1950s America or something that's responding to a past war or something.
Well, I'm kind of curious what like a Gen Z person would think of First Blood. I mean, like, is the historical context too far in the past? Like, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I am of an age, probably the last generation that's going to have like a tangible connection to this time period, just through like family and stuff like that, and because of my age. But I wonder now that you have people like, what would a 20-year-old think of Rambo First Blood? Like a normie 20-year-old. I'm kind of curious.
I take it even further. Think about Gen Alpha right now. I'll tell you. There's a few like teenagers in my neighborhood who don't buy into all the mainstream shit and are raised what it seems like pretty well by their parents, at least, to not take everything at face value and to like actually think about these things, like, you know,
be a little more thoughtful.
Yeah, just, you know, and so I think it's tougher for Gen Z. I think it's a very you're gonna find yourself in a hodgepodge mix, but there's that possibility that the next generation is gonna be a little bit more respondent to something like this and understand it better. I don't know if that's
Well, I mean, it's not that I just wondered because I'm kind of curious. Are my feelings for the movie? I mean, I understand I have like nostalgic ties to it, you know, kind of first of all, but second of all, like I had a sense of what soldiers went through when they came home from Vietnam. I grew up watching like Oliver Stone movies and like, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, before I see First Blood, I've probably seen like Born on the 4th of July, and I've seen Platoon, and I've seen Apocalypse Now. And so I had a sense of what Vietnam was, like in a kind of more tangible way.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was through movies and watching old documentaries and stuff, but I had a sense of it. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of curious if that sense is still there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just felt like the world was much more comfortable with allowing like kids to experience and see things that were more adult, even if they didn't understand it, even if it came to like news, etc.
Yeah.
Like you kind of just were aware of everything. And I don't feel like that's the case anymore. And I can say that even myself as a parent, like maybe I would be more guarded than like my parents were.
Right.
So I don't know. Trelling says the only part of this movie that doesn't belong is when he takes over the truck and has a joke for the guy. Watch the road. That's how accidents happen. Yes, I actually made a note. That's part of my notes is the top of the third act.
Yeah.
Trelling says a normie Zoomer would first of all think this movie is boring because of the pace. See, that's to me. I think the pace is pretty good, pretty snappy, except for the middle. There is when the Colonel Trotman gets there, the movie does kind of pause for a second. But I mean. I think it's a necessary pause because it kind of reinforces that this is a character-driven piece in its own way, and it's also about just the idea of veterans, kind of in a meta sense, and it needs that. It needs that to fill out the story so that you can kind of reinvest. We take a break, we reinvest. We even get a chance to kind of develop some empathy for Teasel.
Yes,
you know. Which I think is important, and it makes the ending less cheap, but it also makes the third act a little weird because it turns into more of an action movie,
a cat and mouse kind of like action movie.
It becomes way more directly an action movie.
Yeah,
and it doesn't look like he's not trying to kill people anymore. Like he's blowing up gas stations.
yeah.
You know,
which if you compare to the book, like he's like basically blowing up half of that town, killing people.
He destroys. I think he destroys the town. Like he fucking craters it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I love that David Morrell, complete professional. He's completely embraces the movie because he knows it means he gets more book sales.
Yeah,
and he openly talks about that, and it's kind of funny. I always love when guys like this are like super transparent. Like I've listened to the commentary that he did for the movie, and it's funny because he's always like, but I think it's great. I think it's great that they did their own thing, and I get to go and talk about my book and talk about First Blood. It's a very heartwarming in a weird way.
Sure.
But I do think if I have an issue with the movie, it's definitely it would be in the third act, just because I feel like tonally it accelerates in a way that I'm not sure I was prepared for. But that could be just me. But I think the pacing's pretty good.
No, yeah, I think this is like also a tonality you see with a lot of modern Gen Z movies too, is that like, at least my reaction has been lately to a lot of these movies. I'll appreciate or I'll like the first act and the third act, and the middle portion sometimes gets muddling. And I would say, First Blood is kind of guilty of that a little bit too.
A little bit,
even
yes.
though I like these three main characters and all their how they all interact with each other.
Yeah, I agree.
Differently.
Well, that's because we take a break because we start spending time with other characters.
Yes, yeah.
We move away. I talked the Weekend Warrior guys, the dog guys, the other the younger police guys that are kind of getting picked off and stuff like that. So we're seeing the operation come in when they're setting up base camp and stuff. So the movie just pauses for a little bit on kind of its intensity, because it's like I said, it starts right away. Like you're off to the races as soon as he gets to that bridge. Like the movie starts and it starts in earnest,
Mm-hmm.
And but the weird thing is, even the things I kind of like maybe sometimes will bore me or will bother me a little bit when I'm watching it, when I reflect on it, I like them like individually. Like I like the parts individually, even if I don't always like them as part of the whole. I don't know if that makes sense, but
sure.
Let me see. Trembling says, I think it's a good pace too, but Zoomers need Fury Road frantic pace, or they're looking at their phones. From my experience, that's probably true. It's probably true. Do you think they need to go Fury Road? Jeez.
That again, that feeds right into what I just said a second ago. I don't care for the middle portion of Fury Road even. I like the first third. I like the last third. The middle, I can kind of just do without.
Yeah, when they get to the desert,
right,
with all the women,
yeah,
a bunch of solid fours.
Yeah,
these ladies need to get into some shade. They need some lotion.
Yeah.
Now. I'd agree. I'd agree with that. 100%. Yeah, that's the weirdest thing about we have never talked. This is a little bit of a tangent, but the Furiosa movie. Don't we already know her origin story? Like through the process of watching Fury Road and discovering about Furiosa, they kind of give you context clues and then they just kind of explain it when they get to the desert. Like, why the fuck do I need to see a Furiosa movie? I want to see a fucking Mad Max movie. I don't want to see a Furiosa movie. I'm still gonna watch it, but
Dude, I saw that movie in the prime time when college feminists were all saying, like,
Oh,
why
yeah.
is this a Mad Max film? It should be a Furiosa film. I'm like, you've never
Well, yeah, but
seen a
you
Mad
should-
Max movie,
all
have
gotta,
you?
All you got to
Yeah.
do is go
Yeah.
up to them and reassure them, be
Yeah.
like, George Miller had the writer of the Vagina monologues on set to hang out with the girls.
There
That
you
was
go.
a big, dude, that was a thing.
Yeah.
I remember reading about the production of the movie, like way back when they actually made the movie. And, yeah, the Vagina monologue, the writer of the Vagina monologues were in there. So the girls could like get in touch with their femininity and bond. I was
In
like,
the
I don't
wasteland.
know. You know,
it doesn't
I
make
gotta
it, like, yeah.
I gotta return to our good boy Laurence Olivier. Have you guys tried acting? Like, you know, you know? Let me see here. What other notes do I got for this movie? I'm sure there's a million things we're not talking about.
I got a couple of notes. The rough cut of it.
Yes,
was over 3 hours apparently. So they shot a lot for this movie, and then they had to cut a lot of back.
Yeah, I don't know if they said the first cut was 3.5 hours or 3 hours, and then, but I don't. Was that just their assembly cut, or was that an actual cut? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
If it's an assembly cut, that's not that remarkable, because that's a Sylvester Stallone actually originally wanted to buy the movie and burn it and shelve it. He was so mortified when he saw the first cut of the movie. I mean, Stallone, I hate to say this, but I think Stallone has a lot to do with why this movie is what it is, more than David Kochev. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
I don't even know if Kochev was that involved in the 90-minute cut. In fact, when I listen to interviews and stuff, he's not even really mentioned.
Yeah.
He's not. He's not
not a household name.
Well,
like
I know, but
Stallone is.
Stallone is an egomaniac, so I don't know if it's just Stallone being Stallone. But it seems like although the other people in the production also kind of support this notion that Stallone is really the one that shaped the movie. I mean, Stallone made a lot of the big decisions, like we had talked about before, about like not letting John Rambo kill anybody. You know, that's a big choice. That's a big choice for this movie based on the material that it's based on, especially. I mean, that's such a huge deviation. You're like, well, why are we even doing this? So it wouldn't surprise me, but I would love to see it. If there's a sincere 3-hour cut of this movie, I would totally watch that, just for posterity, just to see like what it was. What was Stallone so mortified about?
Yeah,
You
you definitely do get deleted scenes, and I'm gonna pull up my Ultimate Edition DVD copy of First Blood.
Oh shit! I have a 4K.
No, also like not to go on another tangent here, but like, man, I miss the days when having like a DVD was like an interactive experience. The way that this does the menus, the way they almost turn it into a video game itself. Like, oh yeah,
it's probably cool now. Like going back, because I remember it was like a novelty when it first was like that, and then it got annoying. And now, if I went back, I'd probably be like get like that nostalgic rush. Be like, ooh, let's go watch the secret documentary and the Usual Suspects disc.
Yeah, make sure you click it at the right point in the film too. Yeah,
I remember the special edition of Memento. If you clicked the clues in the right order, it would play the movie in chronological order.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as good. No. It's almost like it was designed to be done backwards. Trummick says, "Just give me an old man Mad Max movie with a bushy gray beard, Mel in Wasteland, dude."
Yes. Yes. Oh my god. Yes.
Listen, it's hack, and I don't care that it's hack. But like, because it's just hack to make this like comparison. But I want the Mad Max Logan movie, like what they did for Logan. I want a Mad Max one. I want a coda with old Max on one last adventure. That's what I would want. You know, let's resurrect Tina Turner. Is she dead yet? Or is she still? She might be still alive. Is Tina Turner still alive? Judges? Hold on, I'm gonna look.
Just double check. She might have passed. I can't remember.
Because I remember there was a documentary came out about her. Yeah, she died in last year, May 2023.
Yep. There you go.
So I guess Tina Turner's out, but with hologram tech, and I feel like we could probably license her out. You know what I mean? Trembling says she's dead recently. Trembling also says, man, falling asleep and getting woke up by loud, obnoxious DVD menus isn't something I miss, to be honest. And yes, that was my life. Actually, when I had roommates back in the day, they would always bitch at me because the DVD menu would just be playing all night.
Right.
You know, I'd fall asleep listening to a director's commentary or something, and then like the menu would just keep playing all night over and over again. And I got used to it, so I didn't wake up anymore. But yeah, good times. Good times.
Good times going around. You know, speaking to Trembling Compass real quick, what they should do, and I never really realized, I think he's older than Mel Gibson, but bring back Johnny the Boy. Like maybe he did survive in the original Mad Max, and he wants revenge or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a theory about that guy that he's? No, am I thinking of the wrong person? Never mind. I'm thinking of the wrong person. Because I'm thinking of the theory that the feral boy is actually Tom Hardy's version of Mad Max.
Right.
Like Mad Max is like Batman. It's like
everybody was like jumping on that one again, and just from people that had. It was so hard to get friends or people, college associates into Mad Max Fury Road at the time when they had not seen a single Mad Max related thing. Yeah, they just like they went to a blind, but when they saw it, they're like, oh, this is like the best feminist propaganda piece like we've seen in like you guys don't know where this comes from. Yeah.
I know. I did. Well, how do you feel about Mad Max Fury Road? Do you not like it?
No, I like it. I like it a lot.
I was just curious if I mean, because it does have that that of the moment feminist subtext for sure.
Yeah,
but it's so kinetic.
Right.
And I know some people don't like the style of the movie, but I'm telling you, seeing that thing in a theater, that was actually another great theater experience I had.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, we had $40 in our bank account, and still decided to go see Fury Road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dedicated. We saw it in 3D, I think, too.
I did too. Yeah.
I always do. If a movie's in 3D and I'm going to go see it in the theater, I usually will go choose the 3D option because I'm like, I'm never going to see it like this ever again.
Right. Yeah.
Like I went to see the new Avatar, which is the only time I'll ever watch that movie. Like I'll never watch that again. But my brothers wanted to go, and I was like, okay, I'll go. You know, it's like brother hangout. And but I was like, but if we go, we're going to see the fucking 3D version. Like I'm not gonna go to see this movie if there's not something special about it. Like, come on, guys, come on. Trelling says there's a theory that Max's boss from the first one became Lord Humongous in Road Warrior.
Oh,
is there?
Okay.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
It's a great series. I actually really enjoy the Mad Max series, and I like how all the movies are slightly different.
Yeah.
I mean, Fury Road is definitely the closest to like the Road Warrior. They have a kind of a similar tone. But dude, even like if you were to go from Fury Road to Road Warrior is like going the speed limit. But the stunts are kind of way cooler because they're actually doing them, like in a way that they're not doing them. I mean, there's a lot of cool stunts and stuff in Fury Road. Don't get me wrong, but there's no speed ramping and color correction and all that stuff. It's just a dude on an oil rig and Mad Max climbing all over it, fighting guys. It's kind of awesome.
Right.
Actually, I gotta rewatch the Road Warrior. I haven't watched that in a while.
Oh, it holds up well. I did it when back. Well, I guess it would be a couple years now, but when I did the Mad Max retrospective, back when audio retrospective was the title of Flea Pit, with Jacob Miller.
I've heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
because you guys coincidentally did it around the same time that shameless plug Dan Prophet and I talked about Mad Max, the first one. Yeah, and then we kind of talked about the other ones, but we focused on the first one.
Right, and that was actually one of the first reviews you guys did where I'm like, oh shit, you guys are actually talking about other real world things that I'm thinking about like constantly in my head. That relate to the movie. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get these guys on my show.
Dude, movies and art, that stuff, like it's part of your life. It lives with you.
Right.
And one of the best things, one of the most like fulfilling things, I guess, of doing this stuff now is I really love revisiting stuff that I haven't seen in a long time to see how I feel about it. You know, like just because even movies I disliked, even movies I really didn't like. You know, a good example would be like T2 Train Spotting. Like I bounced really hard off of that, and I've never returned. But I should give it another chance now that my expectations are kind of different, and I'm older. Maybe I'll just appreciate it more.
Sure.
You never know. We haven't really talked about the score at all. I mean, we've mentioned it here and there in terms of its like how kind of unique it is, and how it splits the difference between Ted Kotcheff's kind of folksiness and Stallone's need to have a thriller.
Yes. One thing I noticed about the score this time around too, the drums in particular, like they feel like the beating of the drums of like an army about to go into battle.
Well, yeah, because it has like that military undertone with like the tap drums and also the horn section.
Yes. Yeah.
Really, it actually really kind of infers the sense of like honor and dignity and the integrity of a soldier, right? That's kind of the mournful soldier walking on the street like on his pilgrimage.
Right. But Jerry Goldsmith, like he always delivers. Like he is probably one of our greats in terms of composers. I know people love to praise the shower scene score and things like that of Psycho, but his score to Psycho 2 is unbelievably
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
It's so somber and captures like the emotion of that whole movie.
Yeah, it's crazy that movie's good. Like it shouldn't be good.
Yeah, it should not be. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
And then they went right back to business with Psycho 3.
Right.
Like you're like, oh, this is what I thought. Actually, Psycho 3 is fun. I'll give it to Psycho 3. I'll watch Psycho 3, but I know it's not it's not a great movie.
When Anthony Perkins starts directing, yeah.
And it's got what's his name? It's got fucking Lawnmower Man. Jeff Fahey.
That's right.
Speaking of, we got to make our Lawnmower Man reference. Poster still behind me. It was too lazy to put the Conan the Barbarian one in there.
Yeah.
Prophet says, the First Blood was a good start, but Rambo didn't really come into his own until Secret of the Ooze. Trellick says that ooze was full of HGH. Oh, damn it. I would have, you know what, Trembling? There we go. I was looking for it, and I wasn't ready. Trembling says, man, talk about a sagging second act. The second act in the first Mad Max is rough. See, I used to think it was rough, and then I ended up like kind of enjoying it. Like when Prophet and I revisited it, and I hadn't watched it in a long time, and I kind of just like really like just sank into the movie because the first movie is very different than even the Road Warrior. Like it really does feel like somebody's first movie, and let's get my friends together and let's be crazy.
Yes.
Like it really has that kind of sense of it. I mean, half the crew on Mad Max was working for beer.
Yep.
They
they worked together on multiple different projects too in Australia. Too,
fucking George Miller, wasn't he a dentist?
Yeah,
is that what he was? Or was he just a doctor? Was he a regular doctor or was he a dentist? I don't remember. He's one of the. He's in the medical field.
He was in the medical field. He was certified technically, but Mel Gibson at the time when he was growing up in Sydney, half that cast like he was friends with. They worked on other stuff outside of Mad Max, so. Everybody was kind of like they knew somebody, you know.
You got to get into the vibes of Mad Max, you know.
Yeah,
you got to get into the vibes. But there is this really interesting element that actually is kind of mostly explored in the middle of the movie, which is like Max's relationship with I think it's his wife. I believe they're married, or it's his girlfriend. I can't remember honestly, and kind of how that develops and. This idea of coming of age and being a man and a legacy, and he's a father, and then that's what he gets taken away from him, and that's why he becomes Mad Max. Like we have to understand why these things are so important to him in this weird post-apocalyptic world. Prophet said he wasn't a dentist, Sean. He was a dentist. Fair enough. I'm a dentist. I can't do it. I was trying to do an Australian accent and failing.
I'm a dentist. Yeah. Yeah, mate.
There you go. The Jerry Goldsmith story, though, so many bangers. Like even some of just like the little pieces of music are good, like the little the grace notes,
right,
little stingers and stuff like that. Homecoming is a good. What's the one I'm thinking of?
Even just the opening theme, I mean, sets the tone perfectly for the film. Like you're already like, oh yeah, we're in for some heavy shit. Like something's gonna go down. You know,
his friend's dead of cancer. That's
Yeah.
how you're introduced to it. Hold on, let me see here. I can share a screen. We'll play a little.
Yeah,
Let's play a little. We'll play a little piece here. I think everybody can hear it if I just play it. Let me know if you can hear this. Can you hear it, Jeremy?
Yeah.
You can hear it, right? Yeah. Fuck yeah. It's almost kind of close to the Incredible Hulk theme from the old TV show. Trembling says, "I need a curly-haired, casual saxophone playing wife." Who doesn't? You know, you're not wrong.
Right? Yeah.
We all need one of those. She could have played on this. Trembling says, "It's a long road when you're sliced alone." Bow. I tried to get his brother to play the Frank Stallone to play the ending theme. Now, I don't know if I've told this story before. I probably told you when we recorded this, but I used to go see Frank Stallone perform on the reg when I lived in Anchorage, Alaska. He would play in a pool hall dive bar in their basement on a stage. And honestly, some of the funner shows I've ever been to. Everybody had a really good time, and it was a military town, so he was kind of there for the military guys more than anything.
Sure.
I tried to shake his hand one time, and I thought his security guy was gonna fucking knock me out. But I tried to get him to play it, and I couldn't remember the name of the song. And this was before everybody had smartphones. You just look up shit. This was like 2008, and I thought he was going to kill me. I thought he was going to leap off the stage and hit me with his guitar. He was like furious.
Wow.
Furious that I would ask him to play the song. And I was just like, I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't remember the name of it. He was so mad at me. And then he refused to play. He was kind of a dick. Wasn't a great experience.
Yeah.
But I'll always love you, Frank Stallone.
I was gonna say, Sean, maybe Frank Stallone, maybe he's the culprit, the one that doesn't want you to release a RAMBO First Blood review. Maybe he's been following Zoobox. Yeah,
he's following. He definitely watches Zoobox.
Yeah,
definitely. People may look at our stuff and we like to joke around. We like to say, "Oh, we do solid Zoobox numbers." Right. We call them. That's called suppression. Everybody, that's called censorship. I'm just a censored man, and now Jeremy's a censored man. Prophet's censored. Big Paul censored. They're coming for us, okay? The algorithm will not let me grow. Oh, dude, I don't know. I really do think my YouTube channel is in some sort of weird state. I get videos that will go up 500 views in the first 10 hours and then stop.
Yeah.
How the fuck is that possible? I don't even know how that's possible. To get 500 views in a very short period of time and then nothing? You're like, what the fuck? Anyways.
There's a set group of people that are just keeping a close eye on us the whole time, the whole way through. Frank Stallone and his army. I've got
fucking Mark Taylor. That's who it is.
Yeah,
that Jersey trash. I'm sorry.
No, I got one of his movies. I think it's called Terror Train.
With Frank in it? Yeah, Frank's been in a couple pictures himself.
Yeah, I've got it on my DVD rack. Haven't watched it in a hot minute, but yeah, he's Sly Stallone's brother.
Yeah, he's not a great actor. He's not a great actor. But this is a great song.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's just sit there and bask in it for a second. Yeah.
That's Frank Stallone on the guitar.
Yeah. Yeah. He came in as a session musician.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Let's see here. Hanging Over the Cliff. Oh, I think that's a good one.
Yes.
Oh, you know why I love this one too? Because it might be the same piece of music. Did they use this in Predator?
It sounds like something that
this sounds like when Arnold's when he slides off of the cliff and into the water.
Right.
Like this is the music that's playing.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like this. Dude, that's so good.
It's too eerily
and it gets
similar.
better. And I love how he like starts folding in these other instruments slowly. So I forgot who had done the score to the Predator one. Alan Silvestri did it.
Oh yeah, another great classic of the time.
Yeah, apparently a giant fucking rip-off artist. What a hack. Let's see here. What else we got? We got First Blood. Skip ahead a little bit.
Sure.
Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah, that's classic Jerry Goldsmith right there.
Yeah. He gets a little bit of the whimsy in there at the end.
Are they hunting down a man in the woods? Or are they looking for goblins in a fantasy forest? What's going on?
Yeah.
Trembling says Silvestri. Yeah, I was going to say he just ripped off stuff from here. Honestly, that does kind of sound like it. I might. Should we pull up the Predator score and see if we can find it?
You know, one of my favorite, or at least more interesting composers that like kind of branched. Well, it's weird, like what he would be attached to, but you know, Christopher Young.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he does something like Hellraiser 2 and then Spider-Man 3. Like he just like completely.
Yeah, you're like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah,
what do
right.
you get out of this? This is just
Yeah.
this is really just your 9 to 5. Like that's really what it is.
Yeah.
All right, I don't know the names of the Predator ones, which is a shame because I really love Predator. It's like that's an all-time, definitely in the same kind of vein as First Blood. Like my childhood is inseparable from like this movie. The Chopper, Grim Discovery. I mean, dude, I actually listen to the main theme for Predator all the time.
Nice.
That's actually even sometimes in the gym, like a psycho, fucking just lifting weights, listening to the Predator soundtrack.
I'm gonna fight the Predator today. Yeah.
Do it! Come on! Trembling says sometimes composers rip themselves off, like James Horner. He reused his main theme from 48 Hours again.
Oh my gosh!
The one in the Commando is Zero Changes. Yeah, because it's like, I got a song for you. You want me to write a script? You want a score? I got you, buddy. Gonna hear some classics.
James Horner, that hack. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go through the songs because I don't know them well. Right. I don't know the titles well enough to know where the fuck it would be. Oh yeah. Oh dude. Yes. Like it's so like magic. It really, honestly, I get nostalgia boner. It just takes me back to being a child.
Right.
Like because the whimsy of it, like honest, because he's just ripping off fucking Jerry Goldsmith and that like little like sprinkle touch. I don't know what you would sparkle sound. And it just that reminds me of being a kid and like hearing this in my head when I was like in the woods and pretending to make discoveries.
Yeah,
like I'd pulled the leaves apart and it revealed something.
It's kind of like a deceiving opening because it's like this is not your average, or this is not your kids' family friendly alien movie. Get ready.
This ain't some fucking Steven Spielberg bullshit.
No,
you cry about your dad leaving you.
Yeah,
I don't think so, buddy.
No trauma
Predator.
here.
This is Predator. This is Shane Black, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of my friends are pedophiles. Whatever.
We'll get it. We'll get through it.
Yeah. Listen, I tried to help a brother out and put him in a movie, and Olivia Munn fucked it up. Trelling says, and the Axel F theme from Beverly Hills Cop, Harold Fedemeyer had already used it in an earlier version in Fletch. Oh, I didn't know that. All right, let's see the chopper. Oh, yeah, this is classic. Come on. This is also what it plays in my head when I'm making discoveries, when I'm like researching things.
So plays in my head when I'm taking a shit.
Just sweating, like dabbing sweat from you. Close up shots of like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Ever have to take a huge shit when the AC is broken in August?
Yeah.
Oh. Then you play the dialogue. He only comes in the summers.
Yeah.
When the weather is hot.
Yeah.
And the jungle is thick. Prophet says, I laughed so hard when Steven Spielberg's dad left him. What a bitch. Yeah, he did. Well, actually, you know, it's funny. Steven Spielberg has come around now in his old age and has now taken his father's side in the divorce long after the fact. That's revealed in the film The Fabelmans. As an older man, he's looked back and said, you know, my mom was kind of a like crazy person, and my dad was just like a nice nerd, and he couldn't handle this crazy woman that would like, he'd come home and she bought like a monkey. And he's like, what the fuck? And then she was fucking his friend. Trelling says, I know too much about film scores. I have a giant film score playlist that is basically the only music I listen to. Hey, man. If you're like me, Trembling, and I think you are, I love to listen to film scores when I'm reading comic books or if I'm reading particular books. Actually, my son and I are in the middle of reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So I try to find like some nice classical kind of film score, whimsical pieces.
Dude, even if you're like writing or or drawing or doing something like creative as well, like those film scores, like they really do lend
inspire
a hand.
you.
Yeah.
Well, because you can start to see the scene, like you see it for real, and then that helps me so much with like dialogue and stuff, because it gets me in the mode of movie flow, of dialogue, and like where a music cues and where scores like kind of fit into things, and it can be a lot of fun. Trelling says, yeah, I definitely listen to the film scores when I read too. Hell yeah. All right, so it's not that one. Grim Discovery.
I gotta go take a shit right now.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so hot in here. Oh my god. Oh, you know what's be the twist? You know what's the button on the sketch? Is that you've been dabbing your head with a cloth to get all the sweat, but you've used up all the toilet paper.
Oh yeah.
That's how you have to end it. That's the logical conclusion.
We just have the toilets left. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love this score. Now I'm just listening to the Predator score. Sorry, everybody. I'm just digging on it. Come on, where is it? Oh, dude, every single piece is a banger. Holy shit. Yeah. Every single one I click on, I just want to listen to the whole thing. Isn't this just this piece of music from fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Right, no.
Did Alan Silvestri do Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I think so.
We got to blow this case wide open.
I just like that.
Dude, that is music. I mean, I know it's from Predator too, but
right.
That is definitely from fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. I just like that this whole First Blood review is, oh yeah, the Predator soundtrack. Oh.
Just Cumin, straight Cumin. Dude. Listen, buddy, you got to enjoy life. You got to love it, you know?
Yeah.
You got to do things to make you love it, which is listening to Alan Silvestri soundtracks. And yes, Alan Silvestri did do the score for Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Okay.
Just a few years after this. Trelling says the Predator 2 score is cool too. It's not completely the same score. There are some cool new cues. Yes, I'm not as familiar with that one, but I do like it. All right, so we know it's not that one. Oh, God, so cool. Yeah, bring it back. Grim Discoveries. Into Payback Time. Where is it? Dude, that's some great adventure movie score right there, dude. Come on.
They don't do that anymore.
No, now they get fucking Junkie XL and Hans Zimmer to do everything. Come on.
Yeah.
Because everybody loved that. It was Junkie XL and Hans Zimmer did the Batman v Superman score. I thought it was just like very whatever. It's just techno music.
Yeah.
Come on. Fucking so good.
You're right in the jungle. You,
We're
like,
just
you
fucking,
feel it.
Yeah, you're skipping along. Do you run and you got a backpack on?
Yes.
The Phantom is chasing you. Billy Zane.
yeah.
Trembling says, "Oh man, I hate so many new scores because they're not memorable anymore. You know?
No.
I guess who out there is like a big composer? I mean, I know like these Swedish guys are big. Hans Zimmer, Johan Jorgensen, or whatever his name is.
I was gonna say like he was like the last like big one before he passed away. But like the work he did with Mandy, or like Prisoners, like on the depressing side, like with that score, like he was, there aren't a lot of those types right now. They're all trying to do something that's just trendy or different.
Well, like because we're also not like producing kind of like, I mean, a Predator's kind of an adult adventure movie,
right?
You know, it's kind of what it is. But we don't make movies like, even when we make movies like that, I'm trying to think of like what was the last like big adventure movie to come out, like Uncharted or even the Mission Impossible scores are actually generally kind of cool, but they all circle the Mission Impossible theme. They're all just variations on it.
Yeah.
So it kind of, as far as originality goes, it kind of takes it away. What the hell was I just thinking about? I had it on the tip of my tongue and I was gone. Fuck. All right, a little bit more Jungle Trek. Oh no, it's Billy Zane. The first Predator strike.
The footstep, like, so yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm just trying. Oh, here we go. The Chase. Maybe it's called The Chase. Yep. It's a little different.
Right.
Is this the same one I'm thinking of? Is this the one we were thinking of?
I think so. Yeah. Where it holds on that note for.
Yeah, right here. That's very similar. Oh my God, did I lose the other one? It's a little different. It's like when Vanilla Ice was like, yeah, I sampled that song, but mine goes ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Ding. Not ding, 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 ding. It goes ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
That's a little different, okay? Let me see. Tremlick says the only modern scores that are memorable are the ones that do retro 80s synth thing. Yeah, that was definitely a thing for a little while. That came out of a lot of the Austin people do that. What's his name? Adam Wingard was doing that too. That's kind of like, isn't Your Next kind of like that? And I know the Guest is like that. It's got a very very kind of a cool soundtrack actually.
I do like the soundtrack a lot. If anything, that's probably my favorite part of that movie, apart from everything else.
But just like the visuals, the vibe of that movie is much better than the movie itself. But
yeah.
Prophet says the 90s were the zenith of film score. Even trash like ID4 had amazing scoring. Now it all sounds like bad transmission in January, brother. You're not wrong. Because big studio movies, it was expected. It was expected that you would put on a big classical score. It Follows had an excellent retro score. Yes, it does. Actually, it really does. Let me see here. Prophet says, I've been listening to Jean Du Perez Ninja Turtle score while I smoke pot and play with my overpriced plastic. It's been taking me places, brother. Traveling says, somehow all these comic book movies and not a single memorable theme for a character other than the 300 ripoff theme for Wonder Woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the last memorable superhero score was probably Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would recognize the music from Spider-Man anywhere.
Right.
And maybe, I'm talking post like 2000.
Oh, also like, and going back to Jerry Goldsmith, and his score foundation, The Mummy. I still like, I associate that so well with him and those films and they're so unique to that like specific. Oh, we're in Egypt. This is a horror movie or an action adventure comedy. You know, uh, he's one of these like composers that can really I don't know. He just like fits a vibe really well. Like he likes to really play up the instrumental strings and things of that nature, but like he still keeps it like personal to the movie itself. Like that feels like the right tone for that movie.
Yeah.
Not a lot of composers can do that right now. Hans Zimmer struggles with that. A lot of these composers, you know.
What do you mean? You don't like Danny Elfman scores?
Well, Danny Elfman had a few good runs.
No, but Danny Elfman's just like that's house Danny Elfman style is just what it is. Like, it's just. I mean, maybe if you're like a super fan, you can find the nuance in some of those scores. But man, after Sleepy Hollow,
yes,
it was kind of all sounds the same.
Yeah. Well, and John Williams is also a culprit. You know, like dude, like let off on the horns a little bit. We don't need that shit. You know,
I give him a pass. He's like 100 years old. You know,
right? Okay,
he's done.
Yeah.
Well, he created like the vibe of kind of what people like Alan Silvestri or maybe even Jerry Goldsmith to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of responsible for the popularizing of that kind of feeling in a score, and a lot of that comes from fucking Star Wars. Believe it or not. I mean, the score for Star Wars, whether you like Star Wars or not, is an incredible score. It's like a perfect adventure movie score.
And you and I know I hate Star Wars. I'm just kidding.
I fucking hate the original Star Wars more than I hate the new ones. My favorite Star Wars movie is Rise of the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Okay? Things happen in that movie. So many things happen in that movie. Characters everywhere. Dialogue every single scene.
How dare they? They can't be doing that shit. No.
Kylo
Can't be getting away
Ren
with it.
Gets to see his dad again, dude. Come on. Oh, dude, that would be. I wish we could like do a watch along with that and not get in trouble. Because I would love to just sit and like get you, me, get like Prophet, and like just rip into the Rise of Skywalker. Cause it's so bad. Dude, that movie's like a nightmare. I was in the theater watching it, like and I was gonna have a seizure.
I feel like Prophet would just like let it rip. He would say every horrible thing, and I would just be laughing the whole time.
He has a deep connection to Star Wars.
Yeah,
the old Star Wars, the original Star Wars. Yeah, and old bucks like us, we didn't take too kindly to these new feminist Star Wars movies.
Kathleen Kennedy engines.
Coming out of the Disney machine. Coming out of that Disney machine.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, back to Rambo: First Blood. Yeah, great movie. Great, tight thriller. Like it's surprisingly thoughtful. Because we look at Rambo as kind of this big franchise, big action franchise. But I'll say this: even the dumb ones, even the ones that are like full of action, there is at least an attempt at thoughtfulness, kind of in all of them. We could, I guess, briefly in closing. You want to briefly touch on the sequels to wrap it up?
Sure. Yeah. Just to wrap up. Yeah.
So, what is like outside of First Blood? What is your favorite of the sequels?
Weirdly, well, yeah, probably Rambo, the fourth one.
Okay.
Yeah. It felt at the very least, even though it is so overly violent and over the top, you know, they take it to Thailand and then head to Burma and whatnot. It did have a closure feel by the end. They're like, okay, that's a good staple for the Rambo character. Let's move on.
He got to go home.
Yes.
And it should have ended there.
Yeah.
I mean, that it closes the loop. It's the perfect ending for the character. I don't understand. Right. Well, I do understand why they revisited it, but I don't agree that they should have.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you. I think Rambo 4 is probably my second favorite, which is interesting because actually I saw this movie. I saw Rambo 4 in the theater with Big Paul back when we lived in Alaska. And we both kind of didn't really like the movie that much. It has some because this is, I believe the script is just by Stallone. It has some of the most painful dialogue in any Rambo movie. Like some of the line readings, some of the scenes are like, holy shit. Julie Delpy is not a good actress.
No.
She's not a good actress. And there's a scene where she's trying to convince John to take them down the river, and it's like raining. And they have like this emotional moment where she's kind of pleading with him to do the right thing. You know, don't be so selfish. Don't you care about anything? And it's the dialogue is so bad in the scene that it kind of undermines the point of it.
Right, right.
But I do think, though, big picture, it is the second best one, 100%.
Yeah.
I have never really loved 2 or 3. I think the second one's like fun for what it is, but it's like such a huge departure that I don't really have much interest in it.
3 especially, I check out. Like I'm at a certain point, like I'm just not even in the same rhythm of the movie.
I can't even ever remember what the fuck happens in that movie. Every time I see it, feels like the first time I watched it.
Yeah,
I never remember. It's such a unmemorable movie, and although I think it's the highest grossing of all 3 of them, or of the 3 original movies.
Sure.
Or maybe of all of them, actually. It might be the highest grossing of all of them.
That's the weird thing. Is like it's what people remember Rambo probably the most from, and even then, like I can't.
I think it's 2. 2's the one, because that's the one where they introduce the bow and arrow that blows shit up.
Yeah.
And,
right.
I mean, listen, like Rambo 2 is a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is, and I kind of like. I like its cheesiness. I like that it's shot has like a soap opera lighting.
Sure.
Everybody's in soft focus for some reason.
Yeah.
But it's so incongruent with First Blood that it just makes no fucking sense. So if you watch the end of First Blood, where John Rambo is just destroyed, it's over, bro. Like can you imagine John Rambo going back into to Vietnam after First Blood? Like, doesn't make like, oh, John, you're the only one. We're gonna say just you. Remember all those guys you thought they were dead? Well, I guess they're not.
Right. And you only go back really for those other performances, like those other character actors that show up for the sequels.
Yeah, like the guy that's in the command center or whatever,
Yeah.
the evil guy, the stooge.
Who's really good, or at least a lot of fun, you know.
He's fun. But that's that movie, though,
Yeah,
right? It kind of fits with the movie.
Right.
I actually like Last Blood. That's another one that kind of grew on me.
Right.
I do. It's a way better movie than I gave it credit for. I don't know if it's a great Rambo movie.
It doesn't it definitely opens up more doors than closes them, I would say, like compared to the 4th one, where it's just like, okay, are Rambo, are you not like actually finished with life? Can you get with the program here a little bit?
I mean, like, I'm trying to think like creatively, like why would Stallone want to do this? Like, why would he want to do it? Because that's like we had said, you know, the last shot of Rambo 4 is John returning home and walking down the long driveway to his family farm.
Yeah.
Like, and it's the perfect ending to the character. Like, you know, he was fucking hiding out in Burma because he's like, he can't live with people, etc. And he finds peace. He's able to come back home. And I think what they wanted to do with his character was to give him like a truly like selfless send off. But then they kind of just made like I mean, if it wasn't a Rambo movie, this would just be a direct-to-video movie. Like Mel Gibson would have starred in this today. You know what I mean? Like
they made like a Taken 3 sort of like plot, you know, out of it. Yeah.
And it's not that it's bad. Like I said, I don't think it's bad, and I think Stallone's actually pretty good. If there is something that there's consistent, I think he's pretty consistent with the character.
Yeah.
I don't think he breaks from it too much. So it does feel in a as part of the piece in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's weird seeing like just domestic John Rambo. It's just weird.
Yeah.
And but it is, you know, I will say about this movie though, it is fucking dark as fuck. Like you don't like they kill the dog. You know what I mean? Like they spoilers for this old movie, but like this girl basically gets kidnapped to be sex trafficked on the border. Rambo, through a lot of trial and error, saves her. And by the time they pull up back home to the farm, she's dead.
Yeah.
Because she has been given some bad drugs because they're keeping the girls doped up.
Right, right.
She dies of an overdose, basically. Like that's dark as fuck.
Which
and it makes
yeah.
some of the last moments very satisfying. Like he literally rips a man's heart out of his chest.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, you don't see that kind of storytelling on that edge too often right now. Like it's just too unsavory to tell a story where, yeah, like you failed, you couldn't save your daughter, your last loved one,
Well, then it kind of like takes like he doesn't get to be a hero. It's another.
Yeah.
I mean, he is technically, but he's not because he didn't actually save the girl, and that's to me. I found that kind of weird because it's like another one of these like, well, these guys are not allowed to be heroes anymore. We need to deconstruct them and break them down. We need to kind of. At least they didn't do the shit where they were like accusing John of being racist or something because he was fighting the cartel, which was the talking point about the movie when it came out. Like all the movie critics and everything said it was a xenophobic movie. I'm like, so do you think all Mexicans are sex trafficking cartel members? Like, what are you saying? Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Do you think Mexicans don't also really fucking hate the cartel?
Yeah.
Do you think they're not also trafficking Mexican girls and children? Like, what are you talking about?
I've talked to enough people from Mexico who say these. Yeah, exactly. You're just like, yeah, what?
Are we not allowed a little xenophobic catharsis?
Right.
We watch John just dispatch some fucking bad people and let it be that.
Right.
Like it's the Trump era John Rambo movie. You're like, fuck you. My God, like, shut up.
Yeah.
Sorry. Prophet says, can you imagine instead of the final monologue, you get a DBDR rant where Rambo yells at his commander about being a subhuman 5 goblin lurker? I can actually. I can imagine that, and it's very funny. It's very funny. It's over, bro. It's over. I'm just walking around. I don't even talk to people most of the time. I'm like a subhuman 5 ghoul out at night playing basketball. He's got it. Listen, I'm rooting for DBDR. I need him to pull out of this. Yeah. Trelling says, him digging tunnels as a symptom of PTSD is a weird reason to have those set pieces. I mean, you're not wrong. It's a complete ridiculous. Like, it's very contrived.
You know that whole tunnel location is gonna like come into play like later on.
Of course, yeah, because they spend so much time showing you how it works and setting it up and being like, don't go down there. Uncle John's got that thing booby trapped up the wazoo.
Yeah. Which there's like a funny comedy out there where John Rambo just steps into all of his traps.
All of his own traps.
Yeah.
oh, and he's just like stumbling around, and it's just 90 minutes of that.
Yeah.
Prophet says, it's over, Commander. Even the sheriff didn't like me. That's how you know it's over.
Yeah.
Cope. Do you know who DBDR is, Jeremy? You probably have no fucking idea. Listen, he's a musician.
Who? Yeah, I don't know. I know what DVDR is, but not.
DBDR. It's a guy online that we've covered on Nightcap, and he's actually become very popular lately.
Okay.
So other people have started talking about him. So now we're gonna stop talking about him because not too many people are talking about him. But although, that's me being an idiot. But anyways, but yeah, he's a doomer.
Okay.
And and it would be funny and he says things like, I'm just a sub 5 night lurking ghoul, dude. Like, nobody loves me. Nobody's ever gonna like me. And I feel really bad for him. And he has enough self-awareness to pull out of it. So I'm always rooting for him, even though I think he's completely captured by his audience and is now stuck in a loop of negativity. Prophets also says, quote unquote, it's over, Commander. Oh, I already read that. Never mind.
My advice to him, at least, is just DBDR. Dude,
cool.
just have be cool, but just have something to care about that you like to do, and just do it. I don't know what.
If you went up to fucking DBDR and said something like that, you know what he would say to you? Do you have any idea what he would say to you? He would say this.
I'm gonna jack off on your fucking casket, you cocksucking son of a bitch.
All right, then fuck me. I don't even. Yeah.
You try to bring positivity into
Yeah.
DVDR's life? Are you out of your mind?
Right.
Trying to tell him that it's really not that bad, man. Just chill.
Yeah, just chill.
No, it's become kind of a meme lately. But
yeah.
Anyways,
I had one final note here
Sure.
for First Blood, and I wrote this from last year. The movie is the destructive echo of American foreign policy, the eternal domestic consequences of stunting generations of boys, turning them into killing machines, and then abandoning them. Law and Order, indeed. Believe it was Stallone himself who said that even the most skilled killer in the world can't kill that kind of hypocritical bureaucracy. You can only live with it. That was my take.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good way to end the review. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, Jeremy, that was a lot of fun. We did it. Another episode in the bag. We went longer than I thought we were going to go. I keep thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, this would be like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Now we're at nightcap length. We're at 4 hours. But it's too much fun. It's good conversation.
It's great.
And yeah, so what are we doing next time we're together? What movie did we choose, Jeremy?
So yes, I did penned this recommendation your way. I've been on a Stephen King kick, and I don't know if Austin Calloway is still tuning in. We are gonna chat very soon, but I do want to talk about the movie Misery.
All right, yeah,
by Rob Reiner and written by William Goldman.
Yep.
And even that novel as well, just to kind of get into the depths of that whole story and what happened in 1990.
I'm looking forward to it because it's a fun movie to talk about, and it's got a lot of fun things to talk about, like the performances and just the way it was put together. The novel there's some interesting juxtapositions.
Right.
I'm looking forward to diving back into the novel, which I haven't read since I was in high school. I think that's the last time I read.
That's same, yeah. Same for me until recently, but yeah.
Because I went through a kick in high school of just like devouring a ton of Stephen King books.
Yeah.
But then I never really went back to them, and I don't read a lot of Stephen King nowadays. I've tried to. I always start his books and then kind of enjoy them and never finish them. I started one of his newer ones not that like a year and a half ago that I really liked. And I really want to finish, called Revival.
Yeah.
It was really good. And I don't know why I stopped. I don't know why. For some reason, I just cannot get through a Stephen King book. And I do nothing. I read books all the time. I finish books all the time. But Stephen King, for some reason.
I feel so bad when my relatives give me like a Stephen King book or at least for like Christmas time. In I guess like my late teen years going into college.
Mm-hmm.
Right when I was kind of like checking out of like his modern stuff and saying like, oh, Jeremy, you might like this. I'm like, yeah. And then I read like the first 20 pages. And I'm just not into it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Actually, actually that happened to me with the Stephen King book when I was a teenager. It was The Lovely Bones.
Yeah.
Or is it The Lovely Bones or The Bag of Bones?
Bag of Bones.
The Lovely Bones is a different book in a different movie.
Yes. Yeah.
And then Bag of Bones, they actually made a TV miniseries with what's his name, Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
Bag of Bones is it's it's got to be one of his worst books. It's just not very good. It's just meandering and boring, and he's exploring characters that he's just not very good at exploring. Like he's really good at like kind of regular people, folksy types. When he has to do stuff where he was like, because Bag of Bones is about a writer, big shock, a writer, and but he's kind of like a snobby writer.
Yeah,
it's been a long time. I could be misremembering something, but I couldn't get into it at the time. Never finished it. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for us, though. And you want to tell everybody where they can find you on social media and whatnot, Jeremy? I mean, all the links will be in the description, but some people like to say it out loud.
Yeah. Well, first off, thanks to everybody tuning into episode 2 of Goes to the Movies. I'm more than thankful to just be a guest here to talk movies with Sean. We both have fun doing this. You can follow me over at Jeramobi. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, and Odyssey as well. That's where you can catch both my jokes, my memes, and then also shows like Flea Pit After Dark, which Sean has been probably the most
frequent guest.
Around to talk about whatever. And even if the movie is a weird pick, Sean's like, hell, you know what, Jeremy? Yeah, why not? We'll
I
talk
love
about
that.
it.
No,
Yeah.
I love doing that because I like either you remind me of stuff I forgot about, or get to see something new and get to dive into it with somebody. It's always a good time.
Yeah. When a lot of people won't, you gotta have that one supporter.
Yeah. Bunch of losers out there. What do you mean you don't want to talk about Bob Clark's Dead of Night?
Come on now. Which is coming, by the way. That is the next Flea Pit coming up very soon. So
I look forward to it. We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. It's like Mass State Lottery. I'll believe it when it's out.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks so much, everybody. I'd like to reiterate, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. We're still working out what this show is going to be and what it's going to do, but I'm having fun. So until we stop having fun, we'll keep doing it. And remember, Misery. That's 2 weeks from now. Misery. We're going to be doing Misery. So if you want to brush up on your Misery stuff, to contribute in chat, or to just, enjoy the conversation more, make sure to do that. And you can find me at Sean Zubox pretty much everywhere. At Sean Zubox on X, Zubox channel on Instagram and Facebook. And we'll talk to you guys in 2 weeks. I'll see you guys sooner, though, because I love you. I love you more than Jeremy does. All right. Goodbye.
Zubox, is that you?
Who's Zubox? I don't know who that is.
Zubox, is that you?
What the fuck kind of name is that?
Yo, Zubox, what it do, baby? It's your boy, Ari Spears here. Going to win, Zubox, and persevere.
The Zubox is working.
I don't know what Zubox means. I don't get it. Is this some, obviously it's a code name of some kind.
Zubox is working, man.
He says you a trash rapper.
Man, I want to dress up like a bunny rabbit and fuck.
That's all I gotta tell you, Zubox. Come on, man. Chin up, find a place to smile, right?